Semites, Yosemite.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. Happy Monday. So glad you could be here. What a weekend I've had. Man, is my voice a bit tired? It's good. It gives it kind of a leathery quality. That's the most talking I've done in one weekend. Gosh, since my first 8th grade dance. Anyways, it's so I will be all right. I'll be fine. I wasn't on this morning because I was on a plane, and I apologize if that wasn't clear and I wasn't sure if we'd get never mind. Anyways, I'm here now. Hi. And I'll be back on Wednesday and also on Friday. And then every day this week in the afternoons. So you can join me there, and it's going to be fine. And we're glad to be together on a Monday. It's a bit it's getting crazy out there. It's been a rough weekend for the Republicans. I almost feel sorry for them with the infrastructure bill passing. Man, the Build Back Better plan is going to get kind of nailed down. It's going to be smaller, but it'll get through, and it'll seed these programs. And their biggest nightmare, of course, is not that these things get funded for 10 years, because they can arguably run on that for a little while. Oh my God, look how much money they're dumping into these things. What they can't run on is, we're going to put it up there for 3 years, see if people like it, and then people like it. So, yeah, that's what their big fear is. And thanks for the bits. We're at a level 2 hype train already in Twitch. It's nice to see you as well. It's, that's what happens when we take a day off in the process. Man, oh Shevitz. It's, and also, what are they going to run on? This has to be the powwow, and on the right wing is getting smaller and smaller. I mean, they are literally going to be down to abortion. Like, we have to get rid of abortion permanently, or we're never going to be elected because we can't do anything else. Biden got infrastructure week handled. He got us out of Afghanistan. Look at the unemployment rate. And everybody's like, well, that's only there because a bunch of people are leaving they're not even worrying about being employed at this point. Which, if you have 4 people in your household and all 4 of them are working, and now 3 of them are working and the youngest one can stay home, on a societal level, that's actually not a bad thing. The irony that, the Republicans ultimately want a single-payer household, the man work and the woman stays home with the kids, and the kids go to school, and they have this kind of old-fashioned idea of what a household should be like. But if the employment roles pare down that way, where everybody isn't having to work nearly full-time to pay the rent, they're somehow against it. It's very strange. Yes, supposedly it's the left that's against the nuclear family, and yet, on the right, they're trying to nuke the family. It's very strange. It's very, very curious. Oh, level 2 hype train. Thanks for joining me today, guys. It's going to be fun. It's and there's more than a few problems when you're a Republican right now. Not The progressive talking points against Biden are just the same as Tuggers. I know. That's the weird part. Like, I don't think they get it. I said what I said about the squad, and I stand by what I said about the squad. Oh, by the way, considering all the conversations we had on Stuttering John's show and on my Friday morning show, do you guys remember all the things I said about the Rittenhouse trial and how many people were confused about it, largely because they'd been paying a lot of attention to what TYT was saying about it? Well, TYT just walked back all of it. Apparently, they just watched the actual video that's been out for for months, and apparently it just occurred to them. They've been talking about this whole fucking time, and it just occurred to them to look at the video. Yes, it's looking like he will get off. Because it always looked that way. Yes, it's a good thing for TYT. It's insane that they didn't see the video till now. How do you even talk about this circumstance? Like, I let a bunch of the stuff play out until video was shown, until there was a couple of other angles in case there were missing parts and I didn't get out over my skis about it. And quite frankly, I didn't care that much about it. Because with the number of shootings we have in this country, the fact that we laser focus on any one particular one is bizarre to me. But in this particular instance, I was like, I don't know why you guys are getting all sphinctered up about this. And I'll explain it to you. In short, if you don't want to go back and watch the Friday morning show, it's that he's probably going to get, at best, 5 years probation for having the rifle and being underage when he had the rifle. And as a minor, he's not going to get tried as an adult for having that rifle because his mom signed off on it and he was still a kid and everybody was kind of okay with it. And we're never going to be in a situation we're going to try adults for their crimes of their children. It's absurd. It'll never happen. And I'm just trying to explain that to people, not because Pac-Man got a 30-day ban on Twitch today. Wow, for what? Crazy. Sorry, Hal, but I look fit. That's not a sorry thing. That's a good thing, I suppose, right? I should look fit. But the point I'm trying to make is that what I was telling you was the truth. The unvarnished, possibly uncomfortable, and also, little sidecar, even though it's an uncomfortable truth, you want that uncomfortable truth because it errs on the side of people who are being tried in our judicial system, and that's partly what makes it amazing the world over. That you're innocent until proven guilty, that there are, you can't try somebody for what they think before they do something. You have to use the actual incidents on the ground to judge things, and that's good, even though it means some, self-involved little prick might be involved in something involved in something like this. It's, we as a society have to understand that that's the cost of not just throwing 60% of our citizenry in jail. He'll commit another crime, God complex. No, he will not. Trust me, he won't. He'll be a minor celebrity. The NRA will drive him all over the place. He'll never be in a situation where that happens again. The only chance, more than likely, Rittenhouse would ever shoot another human being is if he is messing around at a gun range at some sort of fundraiser. It's just true. So, well, he knows he's not going to go. I'm just saying. No way a black kid would get similar consideration. Recently we had a school shooter, black kid, came in, shot his teacher, killed one person, injured two others. The kid who was bullied because he had money. He was taken into custody without incident. He's not even in jail waiting trial. And he's at home with the family wearing an ankle monitor. Please don't just automatically jump to that silliness. It doesn't even make statistical sense. It's silly. black women get 20 years for firing a warning shot. No, a black woman did. I know which case you're talking about, and that was reckless endangerment with a firearm, and she was. We'll unpack that at another time. But the point I'm saying, and he had money because people gave it to him, but it didn't matter. If he would have beaten this with a public defender. He's got really expensive lawyers because the NRA and all these assholes are backing him, but that's the truth. And I was telling you that was the truth, and I know people gripe about it and they get upset about it and all that kind of stuff. I'm just saying, very importantly to you guys, I'm not going to just tell you that it's going to go your way or the way you think it should go if it isn't, because I think that is damaging to, it demoralizes people. It makes you think there's something inherently wrong. Thank you, Melissa. Oh, I always do. She says, stay positive. I do. It makes people get their hopes up. And then when the impossible doesn't happen because some asshole told them it was possible, they blame the system and not the person who lied to them about the possibility. And I'm not going to do that. I will not. I adore you guys. I'm not going to BS you and get your hopes up about stuff that isn't going to pay off. Just like the $3.5 trillion bill, there was no point where I was like, yeah, oh yeah, that's going to skate right through. Demoralizing is freezing people. Yeah. It's terrible. Like, I've been reading the IPCC report, and there's a lot in it about the human impact on the climate and the impact both in worsening the climate and mitigating it, and the in-between balance in that, and that ultimately the negative impact that humans are having is having, and this is the agreement, 97% of climate scientists agree, that humans are, having an impact on the climate, and by impact they mean we are responsible for more than 50% of the temperature rise that's happening. About 50, a little under 50% of it is happening naturally because of the phase we're in, because of planetary wobble, because of, us cycling through. There's all sorts of stuff. And the 12-year marker of, oh shit, if we hit this 12-year marker, it's frigging over, is based on one of 5 scenarios that they have simmed out. They have simulated this thing out, and they have gone with, the worst example, the worst version is in 12 years, it's like a light switch. The one below it, 18 years. The one even further below it, somewhere in the order of 20 years. And in 2 out of the 5, there's a chance we head to cooling. They game these things out because you have to, because they know that there are extraordinary things that can happen that might cool the earth, like a giant volcano. And then there are things that would make it worse, like India and China getting into an arms race and deciding between the two of them that they're going to build more, trucks and tanks and material, like weaponry that goes to their own front. And in that, they're going to drive up their coal expression and their fossil fuel expression. And that's the tipping it out. Meanwhile, European countries, according to the IPCC, and the U.S., even with Trump hamstringing our efforts for 4 years, is still on pace to drive down our carbon imprint over the next 20 to 30 years, and certainly in that 12. And that's a good thing. And it certainly isn't, by the way, an indicator that no one cares and no one's doing anything and the big governments of the world are blowing it off. That's not what's happening. It's not what happened at COP26 or 25 or 24 or 23 or 22. And all of this is crucial in this. And we talked a little bit about this last week. But Greta Thunberg and all the kids that are talking about the anxiety, the literally doom level anxiety these kids have about the climate, is demoralizing and frighteningly damaging to the psyches of these kids. And it is, I believe, immoral to deny them hope and solutions. It is immoral to tell young people who care about the environment and want to live a long life and want to have all these things that nobody gives a crap. Nobody really gives a crap. None of the governments are working toward it. Corporations are just destroying anything anyways. None of it's happening. It's all being, everybody's bought off. Like, because that's what you hear. That's almost that's the conventional wisdom. And it's freaking terrible because it is not true. It's not according to the IPCC report. It's not, which is an accumulation of peer-reviewed studies of all those 97% folks that everybody talks about when we talk about climate. Those are the folks you're talking about. Those are the people who come together and put together that IPCC report. This is, you need to look at problems on an even keel and view it in a realistic form. Because to some degree, adults especially, we can doom scroll because we have a bit of life perspective on this. Somebody just brought up the Rittenhouse cross state lines thing. That didn't happen. He kept it in Wisconsin. He worked in Wisconsin. It was at his friend's house. He didn't bring it across state lines. And it wouldn't matter anyways. Has nothing to do with anything. Everybody says that. Anna Kasparian was saying it for months, and it means nothing. I'm telling you, it just means nothing. Anyways, so the climate stuff, yes, thank you, Pliable Stats. We owe these children hope because progress is being made and they are being heard. But our side of the aisle, most of the time, when we're talking about the climate, we're just doom scrolling right in front of a child. By the time about the time you want to have a boyfriend or girlfriend, you're probably going to die of something. You're probably not going to have any air to breathe. You probably won't even be able to have any children. Like that's how dare you do that to children? Like when you hear Greta Thunberg going, "How dare you?" And I'm like, what the crime that's really been committed on Greta Thunberg is this attack on her mental health by people nodding along with her that we're not working on this and that there is no hope. And again, this is from someone who's been reading the IPCC report. And as a matter of fact, I wasn't going to do this, but I was thinking about this. Is it in the reading list? It's got to be in here somewhere. I have it because I saved it and then I lost it. I'm going to have to find it. This is going to drive me crazy because I saved a picture. Hold on. I know it's in there. I know I saved this picture because it was, here it is. So let me share this to my computer and let's see. There you go. Send it to this. I want to, here you go. So let me show you something real quick. And this is crucial. This will give you a good example. So one of the things we're concerned about is that there's going to be a rise in temperature, right? This is something we're dealing with, and there's an argument between the left and the right about whether it's 100% humans' fault or 100% not our fault, and blah, blah, blah. And the point is, somewhere in the middle is like, well, it's happening. Whether you think it's our fault or not, get a fucking shovel, right? Because you're going to need to move some communities back away from coastlines or their buildings are going to fall into the ocean, asshole. So that, like, this is meaningful. Okay. Let me show you something that is this is indicative of the IPCC report. And this is how it's important that you look at this. This stood out to me, okay? So here's a picture. This is from page 22 of the report. Let me go over here and jump over this. Okay. So this is from page 22 of the report. This is a still I took. And this is annual mean temperature change at 1 degree Celsius global warming. And the idea is that depending on which thing you're looking at, we're looking at 1 to 3 degrees over the course of the next 100 years. And what an impact it will have. Now, this looks like, just if you squint, it looks like here's where we are, this is where it's going, this is next, that's up, and then here we go. And then we're all on fire. Right? Then go back and look at the actual writing on this. This is observed change at 1 degree Celsius global warming. Right here. Observed change, the actual observed change. Simulated change at 1 degree Celsius global warming. Look at the South Pole on the simulated graph with the information that they are plugging in to their equations. And look at the observed actual temperatures. This is the simulations that 97% of the scientists are working on. This is the temperature rise from 1 degree Celsius and what it's doing to the Earth that's actually been observed in that 1% rise. Oh, we have a problem. But that's not no ice right there. See this? That white part? That's not no ice. It's in the report. It's the Arctic, not the Antarctic. It's not Antarctica that is running out of, that will be denied, like we're losing ice. And Antarctica just had its coldest winter ever. This is crucial, okay? I mean this. Pay attention to this. This isn't something I drafted up. This is in the IPCC report. This is what they get when they plug their equations in. This is what actually happened. The scientists on our channel think the IPCC is a bit conservative. Well, this isn't about conservative. This number right here, that's cooling, and that's cooling. See that blue dot? That is a massive drop in temperature in that area. This is cooling as well. This is what they thought it would be based on the numbers they've been putting in for the last 8 years. Ice is melting way faster at the poles than we've been told for at least a decade. No, at the North Pole, that's where they believe the ice sheets have gone faster. Not at the South Pole. That's what I'm showing you. It's look, don't think for a second I don't think there's an issue and that we don't need to trap carbon and work on getting away from fossil fuels. We're on par to do that. I'm saying that's work that needs to be done. Hear me now. Don't think for a second this is me being climate denial. This is me saying that what we're living through is this. What we're telling Greta Thunberg is this, and what they're hearing is this. That's important. So the point I'm trying to make is that selling it as a doom point is not only wrong, it's cruel to kids who are actually trying to become a part of this, and it will eventually like eat them alive. They will feel paralyzed by this. And you're right, some of them, like, they aren't hearing anything. A big section of, and this is, I think Mar talked about this on Friday, a big section of the youth today, while there's a big chunk of them, a larger portion, worldwide than ever before, are aware of this and care about this. There's a huge chunk of kids that don't care at all. And my argument is, it's not because children have gotten more heartless over time. It's because we have made it so ginormous and hopeless that they have no other, they have a binary choice psychologically. Live in anxiety, fear, and panic, or tune it out. I've been preaching doom and gloom for the environment all my life. That's why we're complacent. Now we have to. Well, that's the thing is, again, sometimes it's not the messenger that's the message that's the problem. It's the messenger. It's how you're saying it. And in any emergency, in any real situation, in any circumstance where people are on, it can at some point become overwhelmed by the problem ahead of them. If you're with the Donner Party, you don't start singing songs or making signboards as you're walking through the pass that says, if we don't find water soon, we're fucked. Because everybody will start jumping off cliffs everywhere. So it's crucial. There you go. So anyways, that was part of what we're talking about. Now, on with the show as a Marjorie Taylor Greene. So apparently she's wearing it's clam blouse day in Congress. Yes, Susan. Yes, that's a new Sparksism. Sometimes it's not the message that the problem is the problem, it's the messenger. If no one's hearing a message that is true and crucial and important, maybe it's how you're saying it. And this is coming from somebody who writes jokes, so I know sometimes finding the punchline, finding the laugh, finding, the phrase that will make a funny idea its funniest is something I've dealt with my whole life. You can have a great funny idea, and if you don't have the wording that expresses it, you're lost. So yeah, right? Clam blouse day. Just saying. All right. So she's on OAN. This one's called Marjorie Taylor Greene on Jan 6 prisoners. We got a couple of videos because she and Louis Gohmert went down to the jail and she did a tweet storm about it. And this is nearly Greg Kelly level lunacy. We're gonna have an ad first, aren't we? Yes.
You ever wondered what actors and actresses do when they have to get in shape really fast for a movie?
After countless attempts to tour the D.C. jail, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene was finally able to take a tour of the facility and see the...
Did she get a souvenir mug? Are the Slurpees served in one of those like jailhouse shaped things? It's shaped like a bar. I have no idea why she would have a problem with this and what touring it would have to do with anything. But I'm sure she'll come out and say third world conditions.
Patriot Wing. Take a look.
The Patriot Wing, by the way. The Patriot Wing. They are just seriously jealous of the attention that Alexei Navalny is getting.
Congresswoman, I understand that you have been able to pay a visit to the so-called Patriot Wing of the D.C.
Yes. So-called. Because it's so-called, just in case you're wondering why it's so-called Patriot Wing, is because it's full of people who shat in the Capitol and brought a Confederate flag and beat up cops and screamed that they wanted to put a bullet in the Speaker of the House's brain for doing her job and built a gallows to hang Mike Pence. Patriot stuff.
Visiting some of the January 6th detainees who are...
Did you see yes, it's overwhelmed with sorrow.
In the D.C. jail. Can you tell us a little bit about what happened, how that came about, and your takeaway from this meeting?
And did the warden throw a party? When the prison band played, did they began to wail, or is that just a rumor?
It took us months of persistence. We have been sending letters.
Yes, and she wanted to go to jail. They wouldn't let her, and yet she persisted.
Going to the jail, demanding to go.
Yes, I know that, for fuck's sake, imagine you're in jail just for a moment and you're waiting months for someone to come and help you. And you've latched on to somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? You're going like, maybe she'll be the one. She gonna do it for us. She's a true anon. She gonna find us. And I heard she's coming. And she brings Louis Gohmert with her. Is there anything more demoralizing than, oh, fuck, she brought that dude? Jesus Christ. Unless he's got a file hidden in his removable tooth. Jesus Christ. You couldn't find somebody dumber?
On tour. As members of Congress, it's something we do all the time. We tour federal facilities. And as members of Congress, we have oversight and jurisdiction over the District of Columbia. But we have been refused. Every single time we go to the jail, we're refused.
Well, yeah, because you may actually be material to the case. Your visit may be prejudicial to their jury trials coming up, because part of the story is, did they have inside help? Is somebody trying to coordinate stories with them? And here the fuck you come and want to speak to them in jail. Like, look, if y'all want to get out of here, you better not put me and Louie and Gozer and all these assholes on the list, okay? You got no chance. Right? Stay the fuck out of the jail. You are prejudicing the case. You have nothing to give these people. And they have representation.
To let in, but this time I just decided I've had enough. We walked in and it's something I'll never forget. They came pouring out from where their cells were and came downstairs.
Who's they?
The January 6th defendants.
Oh, they just came pouring out. Sounds very unjail-like to me. Why are you showing me bars? What did they do? Squeeze through them like the T-1000? The fuck are you talking about? They came pouring down. Were they dancing? Dancing to the jailhouse run. Right.
And they were in their orange shirts and pants, and the January.
Yes, it's kind of a uniform, actually.
Defendants came out down the stairs and came rushing out, and I guess they knew we were there. I don't know how, or it seemed like they did, or maybe when
they most of them could smell you coming. You know what I mean? It's a, you know, you use P90X pre-workout, and some days you wear Axe body spray, but not today.
saw me, and they just started yelling and cheering and clapping and crying. And
they brought us a woman. What the fuck do you think you're gonna do? Guys, everybody come down. I told you. They're bringing us a woman. One woman a month. What?
And looking in their eyes was like looking at people who thought that they were forgotten and they had lost hope. But here's some of the things that were heartbreaking is there's people there that seriously need medical treatment.
They look like they're seriously getting medical treatment. By the way, nice fucking stock footage. I don't know why she's wearing a nightie. I think they woke her up. She was on a fainting couch. She's still recovering.
An older man, and he's quite up in age, but he is suffering greatly. He has some sort of circulatory problem with his hand. His hand is completely purple.
Uh-huh. Did he ask to borrow your hand for anything? I can't even make a fist. Do you mind? Are we in the Patriot wing? No. God damn it. I thought we were going straight to the Patriot wing.
Thumb is turning black. I mean, this is the kind of situation where someone could lose their hand. He needs to be in a hospital. He needs to be treated. There's another man there that has a broken finger.
First of all, fuck off. They have medical treatment there. They get medical treatment. They've looked at it. Just because he rolled in there with a shitty Trump diet and that was giving him circulation problems and all kinds of other stuff. What?
Is completely crooked, and he's asked over and over to have medical treatment for his finger, and he's been denied treatment for his finger.
What? He doesn't have a broken, untreated finger. Look. When I broke my finger, see that little bump right there? That's a screw. That's what that is, kids. See how it's a different shape than the other ones? Look at that. Yeah, that's got 3 screws in it. And when I got when it was set and put in a cast and all that kind of shit, and got surgery on it, they splayed it open, looked like a shrimp. And they were like, it'll never close past there. You're just going to have to get used to it. And that's it. They just told me that. At the hospital at Yale, because that's where I got it worked on. I was going there at the day after I broke my finger. I was going to Connecticut, and so I went and got the surgery done there. And I have full articulation with it because I got acupuncture and shit like that. But that's what they tell you.
There's another man there that is suffering very badly. He has celiac disease, and he cannot eat gluten of any kind, or it makes him very sick. And last night when we were visiting, he told me that he had not had any food all day because the food that they brought to him all had gluten in it, and he can't eat it or he gets extremely sick.
By the way, how many, gluten-free has been a fucking right-wing punchline for years. They didn't give a rat's ass about anybody. Go onto the floor of the house and go to the left side of the house and the right side of the house. Which side are you going to get sympathy for having to eat gluten-free? Piss off all of a sudden. This man has... the food they gave him has gluten in it. Get the fuck... What?
It's not just a gluten intolerance. He truly has celiac disease. And he also told us that he had not eaten for 5 days at one time. It was 5 days. And he gave me a letter that he had written talking about this experiences. And so...
Yeah, I mean, that's all the evidence I need.
He's trying to, just trying anything that he can to get attention and get help.
You have something else here? You have a letter?
I do. I have something.
Yeah, read some of the letter. Read it. Yeah. They freeze turds and use them as crayons. It works.
Here, and you have something else as well.
This is.
This motherfucker, while this guy's on a 5-day hunger strike because he can't get meat and potatoes. I usually mainly eat steak and potatoes. I'm kind of a, lobster. I'm mostly seafood, but high dollar seafood because cheap tilapia disagrees with me. Meanwhile, this motherfucker's crocheting a flag. It's fucking... these crafts show sorrow. Holy shit.
This is something I'll keep my entire life. It is a...
I got this at a jail.
Hand-drawn.
It's funny. He made it out of toilet paper. This red is actually because he's bleeding into his pee. And they're doing nothing about it. And the blue he got from the eyeballs of a cellmate he had to shank for not singing God Bless America in tune with everyone else. So the guy had blue eyes. So he was able to mix that with some toilet paper and some toothpaste and some gin someone had smuggled in their rectum. And he made this lovely blue thing. And you would not believe the position he had to get in to Print those stars. He still has bleach burns in some of the most uncomfortable places.
River.
Fuck off. Bullshit. You cannot say these people are basically on hunger strike and aren't getting medical treatment and then hold up crafts, you dizzy fucking moron. I swear to God. Please, Jesus, have her hold up like a Christmas sweater. One of them knitted me this to like pull up a jacket, and it's, you know, it's a little tight. I'm gonna have to get it tailored. Fucking hell. Yeah, he had to. There was a guy who had died because he hadn't eaten the entire time there. Because he has this thing against any food that is earth tones. And he passed out, and this guy had to use his back as a crafts table. By the way, how sympathetic do you think she is to the Antifa people that have been arrested in Portland and are being held in federal custody right now? You think she's going to fly out to the West Coast and check on how those fuckers are doing? Wonder what kind of crafts they're making. Fucking. I call this one Molotov Cocktail Green. It's got your face on it. Jesus Christ. Get out of here. Yeah, they're swept away in unmarked vans. Can you imagine? Those guys were, they picked up informants that way. The people that were snatched up in those vans were not loose running rioters and looters and stuff like that. Those were LE.
American flag.
Yeah, Antifa's into spin art. Yeah. Welcome to jail. Because you're Antifa, you cannot be trusted to cut out anything because you'll probably put a hammer and sickle on it. So everyone gets a spirograph. Now sit down and shut the fuck up.
And this American flag, every single night at 9 p.m., the January 6th defendants hold up this flag and they put...
Not anymore. What do you go back there personally? What the fuck?
Hand over the heart, and they sing the national anthem. And it just so happened...
By the way, the national anthem of the new Confederacy that predates the end of the United States of America under the original Constitution and decries the corporate consolidation of America, modern, whatever the fuck they think that we're president, and then where Trump's going to be 19th president and stuff like that. And they do the Q pledge, and then they do a circle jerk, and yeah.
That while we were there, 9 o'clock came, and we were there, and they all were, and they said, it's 9 o'clock, and they...
Why do they do... Why 9 o'clock? Well, it's the most German-sounding number. Sorry. 9.
Man ran and grabbed the flag, and he went to the top. There's like a second level stairwell.
Yeah, we've all seen the Elvis Presley video. Yeah.
And he stood over there, and he held up the flag, and they all turned hand over their heart, and we did too. And they sang the national anthem. More patriotic.
They got most of the words almost all the way right.
Than any other American I've ever heard sing the national.
Fuck you! What are you talking about? You're a sitting member of Congress. You've been there when it's present, when dead soldiers have been honored. Get the fuck out of here. What? More patriotic than anybody else. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Anthem.
In prison yet? And how many people do you...
In prison yet? That would be prison, but whatever.
There were overall.
Approximately.
The most... Thank you.
About 40 people. They also, the back of this flag also has their signatures and their names, and they gave it to me to keep.
This is our new constitution for the real America of QAnon. Pledged allegiance to the 17th letter of the alphabet and to the Lord Jesus, for which it stands, one nation, one eye under an eye for an eye. Burn the fucker down, sign it, and poop. Jesus Christ.
I think what I want to say about that is most Americans take for granted their freedoms.
Yeah, that's why we don't commit crimes. That's why we don't bust down the windows of the Capitol and shit in the place and smear it on the walls and threaten to murder the vice president, even when he's from the other party, much less our own. What the fuck? Yeah. Thanks, Marge. Don't go to jail, kids. The more you know. Holy shit. Can I possibly have some sort of... The moron you know. Hold on. Let me see this real quick. Break this out. Then I go back to here. Why is this happening? Hold on. There we go. Oh, it has to be a short one. Shit. You bastard. Now I've got to add that. Yeah, I need a rainbow over my head, and it's going to take too much work. It's not worth it. Fuck, this is so stupid.
That we have our great freedoms we have as Americans, and these men in there have never stopped loving our country and are complete.
Oh, these men in there. Just men. So you didn't go visit some, because there's some women who have been arrested. You didn't go visit them? That's interesting. Probably no good in battle. Is that your assumption?
Devoted and want to defend.
Despite being presumably mistreated or having some of their rights abridged, possibly, in this...
Possibly. Yeah, let's just shit talk the entire American judicial system to defend these fuckers who beat cops and tase them and hit them with a fucking Blue Lives Matter flag. And what are you talking... Put up or shut up, you dick.
Is that right?
Yes, while they are being persecuted for their political beliefs by the
No. Their political beliefs have nothing to do with it. Timothy McVeigh was not persecuted for his political beliefs. He was welcome in America to believe whatever the fuck he wanted. It was the whole driving a truck full of explosives in front of a building and setting it off and murdering a bunch of people and a bunch of toddlers who were in a daycare center on the first floor. That was the part he got in trouble for.
Government. At the same time, they are loyal to our country and wanting to make sure America stays the America that we all know and love.
Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene of the 14th Congressional District of Georgia, the Northwest Corner. Thank you very much for talking to us about your adventure, your tour of the...
It was an adventure, y'all. It was such an adventure. If you haven't been a woman going into an all-male prison with people who think they're going to go away for a long time and never have sex again, and your only safety net is a dude who loses teeth just talking.
CGL meeting with some folks in the Patriot Wing. Folks have been there in connection with...
Fuck off with this Patriot Wing bullshit.
January 6th. Thank you for talking to us on What American Is.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Want to see more?
No, not really. Thanks. By the way, there's more of it. This is them going down there. This is OAN covering it. Yeah. I don't know when they're going to be on Flashpoint. Yeah.
You ever wondered what actors and actresses do when they have to get in shape really fast for a movie? Because I can promise you.
Texas Congressman Louis Gohmert and Georgia's Mark.
They're going live to it. That's the same dude, by the way. Nice mask wearing, by the way. It's good. It helps you with the jowls if you have them.
Taylor Greene tell OAN their fight to improve the treatment of January 6 detainees.
I think it's wise that whenever Louis Gohmert is talking, just have somebody else talk over it. I think it's not that he doesn't have a right to say whatever he wants. It's just, it's a waste of everybody's fucking time.
Not over. One America's John Hines has more.
Where are we now, and what are we trying to accomplish, sir?
We're here.
you're asking the wrong person. Never ask Louis Gohmert where he is.
The official building for the District of Columbia where the mayor's office is located. And so Marjorie and I have a letter to deliver.
You mean City Hall, dipshit?
About the situation at the jail. And actually, for a bit of news, I don't believe anybody at the U.S. Marshal knows, but it's already made news that the U.S. Marshal...
the dude filming right behind, like, oh my God, it's her. Ew. He's getting a 3D scan, one of those apps on your phone that allows you to scan her so that you can have you can fabricate a costume for next year.
Did an inspection of the D.C. jail, both part where pretrial confinees are kept and the area
pretrial confinees. Mm-hmm.
Where the general population is kept.
And you want to get in at this point and to check this out and see what's going on, right?
Well, we know
That's
on the
what
January
we're trying to do.
side,
So one side...
Hi. Love you. Excuse me 1 second. My girlfriend just came home. Give me a second. I'm on a leash. Hi, Murph. Hi. Love you. Ethan wants to game.
He's getting right now with
Yeah,
Chip.
is he?
Chipper.
Oh, okay. If you want to bring Chip in, I'm sure everybody wants to see him.
My candle.
Huh? I know. I love it. Thank you. Yeah. I gave it a sniff. I haven't lit it yet because I'm wary lighting a candle around.
You want Chip? He's laying down.
Yes. If he's not knocked out. Not right away. Whenever. We might need a Chip break as part of this at some point. Mm-hmm. Yep. Now you can't because I've mentioned his name and so it's showing up in the chat. Just no way around it. There he is. Hi, buddy.
He's been sleeping in your bed.
I know.
And licking my face at night.
I know, Stinkums. Hi. Hi, buddy. Oh, you're a good boy. Hi. You okay? What you doing? Did you miss me while I was gone? Yeah? Yeah. Went down. Now you want to play with a wire?
No,
Hey, buddy.
He was sleeping.
Yeah. You want to go lay back down? Sorry, they just wanted to see you, buddy. Here you go. I'll hand you off. Thank you, my love.
I'm leaving again soon.
Huh?
I'm leaving again soon.
Oh. When are you back?
9:30, 10.
Okay. I'll be ready.
Do you hear that? He's taking you out of bed.
That's right. And let me know if you want food when you come home or anything like that. Yeah? Now she's holding Chip, and Chip is like, do you mind if I jump in the fan? It's spinning, so I would like to, yeah. Everybody's saying thank you, Summer, for the Chip fix. Yeah, she says you're welcome. Yes. She's just worried prisoners will flip on her. Yeah, that's the case I would make. They're just basically these are people trying honest to God, all jokes aside, both of these assholes are interfering with the cases around the January 6th insurrectionists. They had direct contact. That's part of the story both the people there are telling. And it just sounds like it's like mobsters going to visit operatives in jail telling them to keep quiet. Tom Hartman never has a cat on his show, and he has some. He's always had it. Yes, it's witness tampering.
The inspection, those prisoners are being moved to Pennsylvania, but the January 6th defendants and other pretrial defendants are forced to stay in the jail because their side didn't fail inspection because they cleaned
it up right as they were doing the inspection.
Now you have a letter to the mayor.
Yes, we're going to deliver a letter.
Well, in defense of those people who work at the jail and have to deal with these assholes, I don't doubt they cleaned it up right before the inspection, but I also don't doubt they have to clean it up all the time because the kind of people that they're housing there took a shit in the Capitol. I'm going to guess they do a lot of cleaning. Because these guys, their idea of protest is excrement.
The mayor, both of our offices have reached out to the mayor of DC to request permission to see the jail. We shouldn't have to, but we've been told that's what we need to do. We've gotten no response.
Yeah, the fact that you went is a crime.
So we have a letter to deliver, and let's go ahead.
And down here at City Hall.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Hello.
Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene,
Hello.
Louis Gohmert, Congress. Anyway, we have tried multiple times.
Look, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, Louis Gohmert, Congress. Anyway.
We've sent letters. We've tried to get into the D.C. jail. We know there was an inspection recently, and the jail did not meet inspection, and any place that houses federal prisoners has to meet those. So anyway, we were hoping to deliver a letter to Mayor Bowser, since we're told
Actually,
that
is the
jail-
mayor available? I would love to speak with her in person. Can you find out if she's available right now?
I can direct you to the line of communication to get an appointment with her.
I think both of our offices have tried that, and we've gotten no response.
That hasn't been helpful.
So that's why we came here and
Yeah, it might be, and I'm going to go out on a limb here, that the jail is housing people that might be seen as collaborators with you guys, and that this might look like mid-level mafia don assholes who run like one block apiece in Brooklyn in 1975, trying to come into the jail and slip notes to people.
When we couldn't get permission to come, we thought, well, we'll just come. Surely this isn't a dictatorship where the dictator is a...
Yes, it is not a dictatorship where members of the federal government can come into a county jail without permission and talk to people that they are directly aligned with politically who committed federal crimes that are being kept there.
Of even talking to members of Congress. So we've tried writing letters.
Yes, the members of the federal government cannot just surreptitiously overrule the standard operating procedure of a jail system. That would be a dictatorship of sorts. That would be an oligarchy.
Trying to come in person.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it. More than happy to take anything and relate the message of the letter
The
to her.
post office has brought things, and that didn't do any good. So
What is your position?
Well, I would go talk to Louis DeJoy. Yeah, I don't know what asshole thought putting him in charge was a good idea, but yeah, you could talk to him if your mail isn't getting there. I would, as a matter of fact, I would just bypass that and go straight to getting him kicked out.
For the mayor?
I'm not gonna
Yes, this is basically Operation Karen.
any comments right now. So anything else I can help with, we're more than happy.
you can help by
Yeah, I can help you find the door if that would make any difference.
letting us in her office to meet with her. That would be the most helpful thing. Well, here's our letter. So you're refusing to call upstairs to the office and see if the mayor's available right now?
I can provide you a line of communication so you can make an appointment with her.
Okay, what's today?
Just to recap, though, you started here. This is all about the January 6ers.
That's
You
right.
wanted to get in. You wanted to get in there. Reported abuses, people arrested, people incarcerated since or between now and January 6th. To take a look and verify their treatment, you went to the jail, and they told.
Now, just real quick, you could, and I know this might sound insane to anybody watching, and this is going to wackadoo, but both of them could indeed contact the lawyers representing them as members of Congress and ask their lawyers how they are being treated. Because if they're being mistreated, I think those lawyers would actually have, the assist from a congressperson maybe to get that across might actually benefit them, especially if they have a busted finger and they can't eat, they live on a diet of donuts. So you could talk to their lawyers because they all have lawyers because this is America.
That you couldn't come in,
That's
and
right.
so now people have been telling you need to reach out to the mayor. You've done that with mail, and so
Can't
now
go in the
you
mayor's
came here in person, and so you're out here on the street.
And let me say though, it started as about January 6ers. I don't know about Marjorie, but I had no idea how poorly people were treated.
No, it's not about
in the
January
DC.
6th anymore.
Now it's not.
about
Yeah, fuck those people. She wasn't even mad about those people. Some of those people deserve to be doing a hunger strike or something. Yuck. January 6th. My concern is they have a serial rapist down there, and apparently he's a vegan.
all of these
It's
people in
about
that
the
jail.
civil rights.
And I don't know if you know this, but his underwear are a poly-cotton blend. Now, he doesn't wear them. He wraps them around his throat, chokes himself to sleep every night. But still,
People that are being kept in this grotesque DC jail.
Are you engaging in a civil rights demonstration here today?
yes. Yeah, that's how I would describe it. It is, ladies and gentlemen, MTG, the new MLK, and Louis Gohmert, the new Louis Armstrong. I don't know.
100%. This
What
is
this
all
is.
about civil rights because, like Louis just said, for both of us, and we're hoping that this will become an
Yeah, it says right in the Constitution, you have the right to shit in the halls of Congress and threaten the life of anybody you want. It is...
with the rest of our colleagues, and it should become an issue for the entire Congress, is that this is everything about civil rights abuse. This is everything about human rights abuse, because the people that are being forced to stay in the DC jail, there's 100.
Why are they, sorry, the people, why are they being forced to stay in the jail? Did you ask them what brought them back to this place? Did you ask them what might have on a life path level?
120 of them, and only approximately around 40 of them are January 6th defendants. But the other defendant or the other pretrial defendants that are being kept there are not January 6th defendants, and they're being forced to stay in this filthy, inhumane, disgusting jail that didn't even meet the minimum requirements when the federal marshals, the U.S. Marshals, went in and inspected the other half of it, and then the other section was being cleaned up quick.
Wait a minute. The other half of it. It didn't meet which part? You mean the part that was empty because the January 6ers or the other folks had just been moved down to Pennsylvania so that they could clean the fucking place and they have to do this all the goddamn time?
Before they saw how bad it really was in this other section.
And so far, the D.C. mayor has refused to meet, and you've asked several times, to discuss the conditions in the D.C. jail.
She's refused to even speak with us and answer our questions and give us.
Yeah, but honestly, that just shows taste and breeding on her part. I mean, all, criminal justice reform aside, no one wants to meet with either one of you. The two of you walk around leaning away from each other.
Permission, which we shouldn't have to have.
Welcome to the U.S. privatized system. That's not a privatized jail, MJ Daniel. That's a city jail. It's run by public funds. And they house federal prisoners.
Her, but she refuses to answer us to go in the jail.
We'll give a few days.
We gave
to
her
see.
72 hours in the letter, so we'll see if we get a response from the mayor. In the meantime,
yeah, 3 days from now, you'll get a phone call, and all you'll hear over the phone is, psh, psh.
we're investigating other issues. We're trying to talk with the federal marshals to read their report. We'd like to read their report from their inspection.
Yeah? You can't get a copy of it?
We're also possibly going to go to other jails in other states.
I'm sorry, what was that word again?
We'll give a few days.
We gave her
Was that possibly or possible?
72 hours in the letter, so we'll see if we get a response from the mayor. In the meantime, we're investigating other issues. We're trying to talk with the federal marshals to read their report. We'd like to read their report from their inspection. We're also possibly going to go to other jails in other states.
Possibly.
See if we can visit defendants in those jails. See if we get the same type of treatment. So we have multiple paths to go down, and we're going to continue to do so because for both of us.
Because both of us need to talk to. I mean, honestly, I just blew my phone open on a Reddit QAnon thread, and any of these assholes could have called me.
And some of our
Mike Flynn, John Eastman, Bernard Carrick, Angela McCollum, Bill Stepien, and Jason Miller all got just got subpoenas issued for them. Woohoo! Maybe they'll visit them. That would be nice. Oh, I couldn't. Please film that.
colleagues, it's about human rights, civil rights that are being extremely abused.
Yeah. About that, I'm fairly certain that the hanging of Mike Pence extrajudicially by a bunch of assholes who you were defending right up to when they did it and ever since would have been a violation of his civil rights. I know, it's kooky.
It needs to stop.
Would you call yourself an activist, ma'am?
Anybody that
I guess
runs
I
for
am
Congress,
an activist.
Yeah, is
Yes,
an activist.
and a member
but
of Congress.
Some members of
Yeah, slacktivist.
Congress that are more active.
Yeah, active.
Yeah. So thank y'all very much.
I appreciate the. I was worried that Louis Gohmert would leave without making a sound from a moron character in an old cartoon.
You guys.
Good to talk to you.
Want to see more video?
No, I don't actually. However, January 6th prisoners singing the national anthem at 9 a.m. or 9 p.m. rather. Let's see it. Here we go.
These are men in detention in Washington, D.C.
Oh, shit. I didn't know this was Greg Kelly. I'm surprised he doesn't sing along with him. And, singing?
6 protesters still in custody. This photograph was taken last night, and there they are actually singing the national anthem.
Why the fuck are you blurring their faces out?
I'm told this is a nightly ritual for the 30 or 40 so still in custody. And many of us believe they should not be there, but they...
What, based on what, fucko? Based on what? You don't think shitting in the Capitol and trying to interrupt the counting of the Electoral College and the certification of the election in our democracy is even an impediment? They should have been basically community service. You know, let them clean the toilets in the Capitol for 10 years.
Finally had a very high-profile visit. Louis Gohmert, Congressman, and Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, Republican of Georgia.
Oh, good Lord. She's still wearing the clam dress. All right.
She got inside. She
came straight from a Ren fair.
Those patriots. Congresswoman, first of all, welcome back to Newsmax. How are you?
I'm doing well.
I'm just happy to be here at Flags R Us. I'm glad they had an extra chair for me while I wait for my next flag dress to be made.
Greg, thank you. It's good to see you tonight.
Good to. How are they doing?
Yeah. Tell us how they're doing. And by they, I mean all the other prisoners in the United States. Oh, wait.
Doing well. You know, I've been trying for months and months to get in the jail. I've been requesting a tour.
I have a suggestion of a way that would make it very easy for you to get in jail. Give the January 6th committee your cell phone. Gonna guess that would do it. I mean, just whoop, and that's like that'll lube you right in the door.
The entire jail, not just the Patriot Wing, but finally.
Yeah, no, I mean, you want a tour of the whole thing, you know what I mean? You want to see old Sparky? They don't have one, but, you know, you can ask, right? Is there a gas chamber? Can I see that? Do y'all have pictures of everybody who croaked in it? I know, You guys have like on every floor, like a little room where there's like a ring of keys on the wall? Is it possible I could get a selfie in there somewhere near the buttons and the code?
After just fighting and refusing to give up and even going to the mayor's office and demanding a visit at the DC jail, we got in last night. I received the call less than 15 minutes notice that I had to be at the jail at 6:30.
The nerve. I mean, honestly. Don't they realize you're a congressperson? It's almost like they have to feed and move and incarcerate murderers, serial rapists, fraudsters, and run-of-the-mill Jan 6 insurrectionists who would like to toss a Molotov cocktail into the White House as soon as they get out.
Found that out when I was walking off the floor, and I called Louis Gohmert and asked him if he would like to come
Yeah, because you got to have a wingman.
with me. And so myself, 4 members of my staff, Congressman Gohmert, and 2 members of his staff, we went to the jail last night and toured the jail along with the City Council of Washington, D.C.
Toured? Okay.
But we were on our way being taken to leave the jail, and we had not seen the January 6th defendants yet.
And when she says not seen, she means not seen.
And I asked them, I said, part of this tour is for us to see the January 6th defendants. And then they proceeded.
November 2nd, 2021, U.S. Marshal Office of Public Affairs. That's the report. It explains all that this woman is off her trolley. Right. Oh, of course, it's ridiculous. That's why she wants to read it. Because if it said what she said it said, she wouldn't have to read it. She could just cite it and go look.
Tell me no, that was not part of my tour. Well, I wasn't having it, Greg, and I was going to.
Yeah, there was no way I was going to not see them. And if I'm there, there's no way they're Nazi going to see me.
Scorched earth on those people. And I told them it was going to be very bad.
Scorched earth? Scorched earth? Get fucked. These people are running a correctional facility. This isn't on the Washington, D.C. tour list.
If I had to leave that jail last night without seeing the January 6th defendants, and then they made some phone calls and they changed their mind and they allowed me to go in along with Congressman Gohmert and our staff. And Greg, I want to tell you, when we walked into that section of the jail that is completely separate from the rest of the inmates.
Yeah. And by the way, that's how you want it, insurrectionists. You don't want to be in Gen Pop complaining about gluten-free food and how your thumb hurts in front of a bunch of dudes who were in there for their 9th weapons charge, the last one being that they walked up and snuffed somebody and ran off with their car, or some dude who's in there, for the 3rd time on sexual assault charges that have gotten up all the way to forcible sodomy, and now he's waiting trial on 9 counts, and he's trying to bargain his case down by telling him where there's a body buried. That's the side of the jail you want to be in. Yeah.
And the other pretrial defendants there. What I saw is what appeared to be men who were political prisoners of war.
Of war. Political prisoners of war. Also, they had declared war. You're officially saying they declared war on the United States. Yeah, I'm sorry. If you're a political prisoner of war, you're not a political prisoner. It's the war part you're in there for. What the living fuck?
And they had thought that they were forgotten. They had thought that everyone didn't.
Oh, no. They're not forgotten. They've all got upcoming trial dates.
About them. They felt hopeless, but when we walked in, it was a complete change.
Still in jail. Yeah, fucko. Let's see. I had to do this. I'm glad they put this up there. Let's see. New window. That doesn't seem like a lot, by the way. Are they going to flip through? Okay. Let's see. Let's see what. Let's just take the first guy. Ryan Nichols, Capital. Here we go. Now, why would he be in jail? I mean, he could have, I don't know, maybe he could have pled down and been, East Texas man rejects plea deal in Capitol riot case. An East Texas man who's charged in the January 6th riot has rejected a plea deal offer from the government prosecutors. Alex Harkrider, a 34-year-old Carter man who was released on bond back in April until his trial. He's charged along with 30-year-old Ryan Nichols, a Longview resident, of several crimes stemming from the riot, ranging from civil disorder to assaulting federal officers. That might be why he's in jail. But he's a political prisoner, is he? Because his buddy who did the same shit is home. Not political prisonering, apparently. Yeah, these are Gohmert people, right? He probably, we're going to find out his staff arranged the flights. That's why he needs to be in there. Harkrider's DC-based attorney Kira West announced in a hearing on Wednesday that Harkrider would not be taking a plea offer. There was no mention of what kind of deal the U.S. Attorney's Office had brought to him. Prosecutors told Judge Hogan that there was a substantial amount of evidence that they were going through and would be providing to both Harkrider and Nichols' respective attorneys. U.S. Assistant Attorney Danielle Jones announced to Hogan that it could be another 69 days to go through all the data. Harkrider has been out on bond since April, so he's obviously, if he's not eating gluten-free, it's kind of on him, and has been keeping to his pretrial restrictions. Oh, that's weird. So he's been denying himself his own freedoms. Last week, Hogan agreed with a motion filed by West that would allow him not to wear an electronic monitoring around his ankle. Oh, so he's not only out, he doesn't have to even... All right. So catch and release, I guess. Is that a good way to describe this? One of the dudes who helped this asshole beat up federal officers is out on catch and release. All right. The device did not keep precise GPS location, but instead alerted pretrial officers when Harkrider left his house. Buck Viles, a defense attorney from East Texas, representing Nichols, said the teleconferencing hearing that the prosecutors have been a delight to work with. You look at that and the regimes around the world, and then we do mean regime, like the North Koreans or the Russians or the Chinese, oftentimes, a delight to work with. He remarked that the amount of evidence is highly unusual, but expected to give the unique circumstances of the Capitol riot case. You mean all the fucking video of his dumbass client posting his own videos and then other people's videos? He also said that Nichols was eager to proceed to a plea agreement, but he was waiting to review the evidence against him. He is still sitting in a federal facility in the D.C. area. I'm pretty sure he knows what he posted. Files told Hogan that there were 32 prisoners in Nichols' pod. That's the Patriots of D. Cell block D, I guess. But only 2 tablets available to them that could review documents and other evidence with their lawyers. Nichols has rarely had the chance in jail to use the tablets. Somebody's already playing Fruit Ninja on it all the time. God damn it. Files also told the court that he had personally traveled twice to Washington to visit Nichols since his arrest, totaling about 5 total hours with him. The 2 are charged with nearly a dozen federal crimes, between them including civil disorder, obstruction of an official proceeding, which is, by the way, this is the insurrection part. Assaulting officers using dangerous weapons. That's the dude who's still in fucking jail. Theft of government property. That's the dude who's out without even an ankle monitor. Entering a restricted building or grounds with a deadly weapon. Both of these fuckers. Disorderly conduct in a restricted building with a deadly weapon. Both of them. One of them's out, one of them ain't. Unlawful possession of a dangerous weapon on Capitol grounds. Both of them. One of them's out, one of them ain't. Disorderly conduct in Capitol building. Both of them. Act of physical violence in the Capitol. And that's against a human being. parading, demonstrating, or picketing in the Capitol, which is what, even like people who have to be taken out that are protesting, the health, like the ACA not having, more coverage in it and those kind of things, or denial of Medicare or Medicaid benefits, those kind of things. Those people get charged in that. Somehow these guys are supposed to be able to dodge that shit. But people who are protesting rollbacks in the ADA, they get charged with that shit and they just sit with it. They accept it as part of the gig. People who are literally using a straw or one hand to move their wheelchair around, they're proud Americans enough to take on the chin the law that they are breaking to get their point across. Meanwhile, these guys think that shouldn't apply to me. I got permission from the guy who was no longer president. 20-page Department of Justice arrest warrant lists out in great detail how the two planned on storming the Capitol for weeks, and how they posted several times to social media bragging about the riot. 2 witnesses separately contacted the FBI, and agents ran a search of both of their Facebook pages, which include numerous photographs and videos. In one photo, the 2 men are standing in front of the shattered window at the Capitol saying, "We ain't done yet, we just got started." In a video obtained by FBI, this is just the first fucker. I just grabbed the first guy on the list. I didn't cherry pick this. I just grabbed Nichols because he was up in the upper left corner. Apparently, in this picture, this grinning prick, that's the picture they took. That's his booking photo, it seems. And these aren't, No, these aren't in alphabetical order. So apparently, this just struck Greg Kelly's team as the guy they most wanted to get out of jail. In a video obtained by FBI agents, a man that appears to be Nichols yelling into a bullhorn, "If you have a weapon, you need to get your weapon." Along with, "This is the second revolution right here, folks. This is not a peaceful protest." Dude, take the deal. The warrant alleges that Nichols and Harkrider were identified in a separate video, forcing their way into the Capitol building. The video shows Nichols allegedly grabbing a large red aerosol can and sprayed it towards Capitol police officers. In another Facebook post, Nichols tagged Harkrider, saying they were feeling pissed off. They wrote, "We're in 2 people killed already. We need all the patriots in this country to rally the fuck up and fight for our freedom, or it's gone forever." Nichols also fought back against the baseless conspiracy theory that it was members of Antifa that stormed the Capitol and not President Trump supporters. He wrote, "Sure, there may have been some Antifa in D.C., but there wasn't enough to storm the Capitol themselves." Dude, these guys do not know when to quit while they're ahead. No wonder his attorney is like, "They've been lovely. I'm dealing with a fucking lunatic." I mean, the prosecutors are the brightest part of my day. They keep trying to help me get this prick out of jail, and he's just not coming. I don't know how I got this fucking... March of last year, Nichols gained attention when begging for sewing machines and materials to make masks at the onset of the COVID-19 epidemic. He appeared on the Ellen TV show in 2018 after driving more than 18 hours to North Carolina to help people get to safety. Along the way, he found 6 dogs locked in cages, trapped by rising floodwaters. Ellen presented him with a check for $25,000 that would be donated to the Humane Society in his name. Oh, Ellen. Never were a good judge of character. You even let me in your house. Yeah, 2 people dead already, and we're just getting started. Bring your weapons. We're going to fuck things up. Yeah. I mean, he sounds like a patriot. That sounds like patriot stuff. That's just that guy.
They came flooding out of their cells and coming down the stairs and coming to the common.
I bet they did.
They came flooding out of their cells and coming down the stairs and coming to the common area where we...
Sorry. I mean, gets lonely in jail. Yeah, how are you supposed to make the case that these people are being tortured and apparently they can just kind of roam around?
And cheering.
I mean, they were just coming down the stairs. I mean, yeah, like I said, you get pent up.
Laughing and crying because they had not seen anyone come in there and had felt like no one cared about them.
Don't. I'm in double entendre hell right now.
Now, I want to also say this, Greg. These are men that are charged with crimes, and I'm not defending what they had done at the Capitol, and I'm not defending the right.
The fuck you aren't. You're calling them political prisoners of war. Of course you're defending them.
Because I did not like the riot, but what I am there for.
Yeah, because they lost.
And the reason why I'm standing up for this issue is I am solidly against political witch hunts, and I'm against what's happening to these.
What do you mean? What witch hunt? You just said you didn't like what they did. You weren't defending what they did, and then you just called the charges against them witch hunts. You fucking knucklehead. Jesus Christ. This guy's buddy who did the same shit he did is already out of jail. He's fucking home. He doesn't even have to wear an ankle monitor. The dude stayed in because he doesn't want to take a plea deal because he beat a fucking cop up. God damn it. Where is this? Where in this? What is the witch hunt part of this shit? Witch hunt?
And how they're being treated. And I do believe in due process. I believe in justice. I believe in our court system. And I don't.
No, you do not. Because you have been shitting all over it the entire time you've been there. If you believed in our court system, you would bring up the fact that one of the people, because you can see that monitor, they show you when I've done these kind of shows, not shitty ones like Newsmax, real news. But when you do it, you see on one of the monitors that's in front of you, even if you're from a remote location, shows you what's on screen. So you can see if you're on screen or the other person's talking, or if they got a graphic up, you can see what graphic they're talking about in case they need to tell you, hey, we're talking about this thing. Right? In all of that, you could see what they just put up. You met this asshole, right? You didn't bother to go through, do the due diligence. You had 4 staff members. You didn't have one whisper to you. That's the Nichols dude. He tried to shove a flagpole with a Blue Lives Matter flag on it up a cop's ass. Maybe, yeah, just talk to the other guy. Yeah, all he did was shit in the rotunda.
Politics should have anything to do with it. And these are men that have
politics? What the fuck are you talking about? That's why they stormed the Capitol. You just called them political prisoners, and we shouldn't let politics be about them. What? What is this? I'm starting to smell burnt toast. Is toast burning? Is toast burning? I smell cooking. Oh, good. Okay.
committed misdemeanors, and they have been held for nearly 10 months now, some of them. Since
No. None of those people also have misdemeanors. They have misdemeanors as part of their charges, but some of their crimes are not misdemeanors. Dum-dum. Now, if you want to make a case that according to Marjorie Taylor Greene, so far in what we've been talking about, this smash rag thinks that assaulting officers using a deadly weapon should be a misdemeanor and should be shrugged off.
they were arrested in January, and it's time for America to wake up. We can't allow this to happen in our country.
Yeah, we gotta wake up. We can't allow this to happen. How about don't let the insurrection happen in the first place, dum-dum? Look at that, 1.1 Kay in the chat. Holy smokes. Thanks so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Give a thumbs up. You're not getting coverage like this anywhere. You really aren't. I mean, honestly, who's on top of things like this? For Pete's sake. I mean, I'm just glad to be of service. This must be what happens. Thanks, Craig. Sorry. It's left over from the whole sex guru thing. Ugh. Yeah, just give a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Just nuts. Oh, and by the way, speaking of nuts, this is Christina Bobb. She's on OAN. Yeah, she's a regular host on there. She's the driving force at OAN about the election, the big lie, the election fraud horseshit. And she spoke at the ironically and hysterically named election integrity rally. Let's go integrity. Let's go integrity. That's what do we want? Integrity. When do we want it? 10 months ago when Trump was still president. Fuck this. Okay, hold on. Whoops, I pushed the wrong button. Hold on. There's going to be an ad for weightlifting or something, or like, oh, this is even worse. Do you approve? No, you're just dragging me on this. No, I'm not going to click any of those things. Not interested.
One America's Christina Bobb speaks at Arizona gubernatorial.
What? I'm sorry. Run that by me again. I have to.
One America's Christina Bobb speaks at Arizona gubernatorial candidate Kari Lake's election.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I got to say, gubernatorial is a difficult one. Especially when, Louis Gohmert's been around and he likes to pronounce it gubernatorial, which if he ever ran for governor would be the proper term.
Integrity rally about her coverage of the state's forensic audit. Take a look.
And by the way, and by coverage, she means propaganda.
Just last week, Racine County in Wisconsin, the sheriff was the first law enforcement agency in the country to say there was fraud in 2020. That announcement.
No, he did not. I covered that whole thing. You played clips. I did the whole thing. He didn't say that. He said they suspect that there may have been some because one lady who voted for Trump thought her grandmother shouldn't have been allowed to vote and the staff was there to do the voting for her and they shouldn't have been allowed to do that and they made special accommodations because we were in a friggin' pandemic and they didn't want to kill old people and they did that kind of stuff and that's proof that there was fraud. Meanwhile, every time they look for more, they find any fraud, it's always a fake Trump vote. Always. They always find more real Biden votes and they get rid of more fake Trump votes.
It came out, they had the pathway to do that and they had the support to do that because of Arizona. Arizona held the line all of 2021 and you demanded an audit. You are a...
Yes, you held it in as long as you could, but then eventually you just blew a hole in your diaper and called it a day.
A bunch of crazy patriots who showed up at your legislature's homes.
Well, I take issue with the word patriot. I will give you crazy, though. See, we can find middle ground. Yes, Greg Youngkin's 17-year-old son tried to vote twice illegally.
You showed up at their homes, you marched in the streets, you said, we want an audit, and you did not stop until they gave it to you. And what
it showed was that Biden got 88 more votes, Trump lost 241 votes, and Jorgensen lost, 100 votes.
Your audit find. First and foremost, the most important thing is criminal activity took place in Arizona's election, without a doubt.
Yes, but those are all Trump votes. Prove me wrong. Because every time you found somebody that was sketchy, they voted for Trump. Every goddamn time.
Know that databases were deleted, files were missing from the election management system. We know the chain of custody was broken. We know ballots were missing from boxes. Records were not kept in accordance with the legal proceedings here.
Yeah, but enough about the audit itself.
Arizona, crimes happened. 23,000.
No, they did not. Crimes did not happen. Well, unless you're talking about the audit itself, where they allowed the cages to be accessed by people who didn't have the right to. People took stuff out of the cages, and even though they signed it out, they didn't sign it back in. Sometimes it was there, sometimes it wasn't.
Duplicate votes, meaning the same person voted twice. That's more than double the margin of victory in Arizona.
Which, by the way, let's see. Hold on one second. If I may, one moment. Thank you very much. I mean, he did it at rallies. He wasn't whispering it to people.
$9,041 more ballots were returned by a voter than the record of them actually being received. Where did those votes come from? They just appeared out of nowhere.
It's so strange. It's almost like those people went in and voted early and picked them up and filled them out and dropped them off because they were there.
The official results record does not match the record of who voted. Everything should match. It should align on either side. Who voted?
Yeah, oddly enough, some Democratic votes were thrown out that should have been counted. 88 of them specifically that the auditors found. I'm sure there's more. I'm sure they ignored them in their own right because they had Trumpies sitting at their little lazy Susan making sure they could chuck them out.
How many votes do you have? They should all tally. None of it matches across any spectrum. The Maricopa.
Yes, it does. The only time it didn't match is when the auditors didn't know what file they were supposed to be looking for the return ballots.
County's certified results do not actually match the results that were certified by the state. 12.
Right, but they are within normal human error on a minor scale.
1,772 ballots were received by Maricopa County from voters who no longer live in Maricopa County.
No, according to a commercial website. So it's like saying, Facebook thinks you moved. Do you want to change? You seem to be in the mountain time zone. Would you like to change that on your phone? Oh, I guess you no longer live here.
295 voters voted in multiple counties. Duplicate ballots were missing the required serial number.
By the way, no, they did not.
And they could have been duplicated multiple times. So the actual duplicate ballot.
No. They could have nothing. Could have nothing because when they counted them, they matched the number of ballots they had. If they were counted multiple times, there would have been a bunch of them that just disappeared. Oh shit, we've got 65. This was run through a bunch of times. There was a stack of 50 ballots that went through the machine. They were counted multiple times, and therefore we have 400 votes in this area that just don't have a corresponding ballot. They all had corresponding fucking ballots.
The ballot is damaged and needs to be duplicated in order to be counted. The legal duplicate ballots, they need to have serial numbers on them so you can track them and know the original ballot. They did not have them, so you have no idea how many times those ballots
they were attached to them.
Duplicated. 208.
Nonsense. You know exactly how many because you count the duplicate and how many votes were in the area. If the duplicates were counted dozens of times, first of all, there'd be one voter on the rolls for the dozens of votes that showed up. And that's not the assertion. I mean, this is goofy. We all watched it.
4,412 ballot images were missing from the scanned ballot image.
No, they were not. They were on an entirely different server under that we looked at that one. So the 31A file versus the 31B file, because the ones that were mailed out and mailed back, the mailed back part is a certain file, and then the walked in part is a certain file. So the ones that were mailed out, someone mailed it back in, that's a file of it going out, like a 30A, shows all the ballots that were mailed out. 31A shows all the ballots that were mailed back in. 31B shows all the ballots that were walked in. And 29A is all the ones that people came in and picked up at a time before they were mailed out or before the request was made, that were never mailed, but were picked up. And then some of those showed up in 31A, meaning they were mailed back by the person that picked them up, and some of them returned by the person just filling them out right there. And I'm sure in one extraneous circumstance, a person took their ballot, filled it out at home, and then went, fuck it, I'll drop it off, and walked it back in. This is just stupid.
It's 284,000. We don't know where they are.
Yes, you fucking do. Even Cyber Ninjas admitted they got all mad at the county because the county didn't tell them about the walk-ins. This is just stupid.
The county lacked basic security. They issued the same username and password to everybody to use to access the machines that were connected to the internet and were accessible through.
And they were not fucking connected to the internet. And by the way, the ones that were connected to the internet are the ones that just upload the temporary tally, the non-certified tally, so that Steve Kornacki and other people and people across the globe can check and see on what swing counties and swing districts in America are going one way or another. They don't affect the material vote. They don't affect the certified vote. It is simply the PR wing of this whole fucking thing. They keep the tally uploaded so that people can get a count of that. Those are hooked up to the internet. They're not hooked up to the machines that aren't hooked up to the internet. They're separated. And those ones that aren't hooked up to the internet are the ones that are certified. That's the count that's certified later. That's why sometimes in the one that's not hooked up directly to the machines, a human being has to look at what this one says and type it into this one because the machines aren't connected. They don't automate it. And sometimes that person makes a mistake and they put too many votes or not enough votes, and then they change it later like, oh shit, I added a 0. And then you have all these like, oh my God, Trump had like 100,000 votes and then they took it away and he only had 10,000 votes. Like, yeah, because a person looking at this went and hit 5 numbers instead of 6. You fucking dolt.
Hacking or anybody that had the generic password that they gave out to everyone. Crime.
And yet, even though that generic password existed, there is no evidence anyone got in. And if they did, they didn't change anything. One thing, like if you're going to argue that somebody hacked that shit, at least go, there was 100,000 weird votes and some teenager changed his grades and launched thermonuclear war, and bombed Las Vegas first. Shall we play a game?
Took place. And worst of all, your elected officials from Maricopa County, your Republican elected officials from Maricopa County denied you access to all of the information. They denied Arizona.
Well, now I have to say there is a good reason for that. And that's because Trump and his cronies committed massive election fraud and paid for a lot of fake votes all over the place. It turned out not to be enough. And in paying for those, hundreds of thousands of votes to try and get him over the top because he knew he was losing, all of those fake votes, now because you can't tell who those fake votes went for, he's just kind of going back because he lost and saying, we know they were fake votes. He knows they were for him, but we all know that no one can tell after the fact, so they can go back and claim fraud because it was their fraud. It just wasn't enough fraud for him to win. So thank you. I have to put that up because in case I get in trouble. P.S. Prove me wrong. Hashtag there is no Hunter Biden laptop.
Voters the truth. They denied them the opportunity to see what happened in the Splunk logs and the passwords.
Yeah, but if the problem is that if they show them, it'll show them that the Republicans cheated and Trump lost by a lot, and they'll get all demoralized and probably try to start another civil war. I'm just saying.
The administrative passwords to the machines. They obscured the truth and gave you no transparency into your election. We are a nation of laws.
yeah, there's limited transparency. Nobody gets to see the fucking code or the passwords or any of that shit. I don't need to know how my neighbor voted. It's a private voting thing. We know people are registered. We don't have the right to know, even technically speaking. I mean, it's listed, but it's mainly so you can check it for against fraud later. It's made public, but it's not an intrinsic right. You don't need to. I don't have an intrinsic right to know you are registered to vote or not. It's none of my goddamn business.
We like laws. We like law and order. We don't always like being held accountable.
What? Wait, I'm sorry. What was that again? We like laws. We like law and order. And then what?
We are a nation of laws. We like laws. We like law and order. We don't always like being held accountable, but we like it when our elected officials.
What? We don't always like being held accountable? Gee, you don't fucking say. You don't like being held accountable? That's odd. I don't know where you would ever get the idea that people don't like being held accountable for when they break the fucking law. What?
Held accountable, and they have not been held accountable. The people of Arizona.
Well, like I said, you don't want them held accountable. Republicans don't. Because if people are aware of the massive cheating that the Republicans had to do to even lose by the amount they lost by, and keep the Georgia votes close, they they'd be under so much legal scrutiny that half of the Republican congressional delegation would be in jail, and everybody would recognize that Trump, probably lost by 30 million votes.
Expect their leaders to follow the law. Attorney General Brnovich was elected for the responsibility of enforcing the laws in Arizona. So, to Attorney General Brnovich, I say, the nation is watching. The world is watching.
Yes, and thanks for doing your job, even though we didn't trust you to do it because you were obviously the voters wanted you to be some sort of political stooge for Donald Trump, and you just couldn't bring yourself to do it. Weird. Do you and Brett Kavanaugh talk? Do you just cry over a beer or what?
More importantly, the people of Arizona are watching. The people who elected you.
Well, how do you know they elected him? I mean, honestly. You can't trust the elections. How do you know that person? How do you know they weren't a deep state operative put in office by the Clinton as some sort of Clinton murder hit squad? Why in the world would you think that Donald Trump wasn't legally elected, but this person was? What could possibly...
And we expect Attorney General Brnovich to do a real investigation and issue real arrest warrants and issue real subpoenas.
Yeah, I guarantee they are every single day. Just about other shit. Like real crimes. You know there are real crimes going on in Arizona, right?
Do a real job.
Yeah.
And lastly, I'll address the Arizona State Legislature.
Yes, please do. How do we even know they were elected? I know they're Republicans, but how do we know these rhinos didn't just steal their way into this, huh? How come we don't know that they are just secret Democrats?
Some we've heard from tonight. Some of you are warriors. Some of you are absolute warriors, and I have enjoyed getting to know you.
Yes, everyone seems very worried.
Over the last year, as you've fought and you've raised your voices and you've made your voices known and you have represented the people who elected you to do the job. And I'm thankful for you. I am thankful for the warriors in your Senate and in your House. To your quieter colleagues, I say, find your voice. What good is an elected seat if you can't summon the courage to do your job?
Well, the issue isn't that they're not doing their job right now. It's they're afraid that you're going to find out and others are going to find out that they didn't do their job last year and that they tried to steal the election for Donald Trump, and they just don't want you to look. They're hoping they can just sneak away, having just stolen the whole thing, and
You were all elected for a purpose, and that purpose was to represent the people of Arizona, and they have made their voices loud. And we need you to do...
Made their voices loud. It's okay. We're going to let it slide. It's not like she talks for a living.
What you were elected to do, what we all know needs to happen, and you need to decertify the 2020 election. Thank you.
Want to see more?
Yeah. No one wants to see more of that. It's friggin' ridiculous. Okay. Oh God, it's so... all right, let's go out on a silly note. Huckabee and Cameron and Huckabee together again forever. Apparently Kirk Cameron has a show. What you can take away from Kirk Cameron's new show, Jukebox Huckabee. I don't know if that's the name of the show. It does sound like a show. Well, we'll be back to this very special episode of Jukebox Huckabee right after these messages. Paul, come quick. Fonzie got electrocuted. All right. This is, and there'll be an ad.
The truth is that Hollywood's elite actors can get ripped while adding 12, 15, even 20 pounds of muscle.
You
all know my next...
You all know my next guest, or you knew my next guest, or you know my next guest if you fap to clean flicks.
That's from the classic sitcom Growing Pains, the Left Behind...
You definitely... Oh, okay, you do, yeah. The Left Behind movies.
Film series and many hit movies, including Fireproof.
I love how I think it's good that he makes a distinction between the Left Behind series and hit movies, because not
Unstoppable. Well, he's got a great new show, and it's going to be right here on TBN. It's called...
Oh, look at that. It's all right. This is a Human Centipede episode. Takeaways with Kirk Cameron. Not Left Behind? I think you're missing something. It's a Christian show called, with a message for Jesus in the rapture called In Case You Missed Me.
Takeaways.
Hi, I'm Kirk Cameron, and welcome to Takeaways. They're saying that atheists...
Welcome to Takeaways. We take away, every day, we take away one page from the dictionary, and we rip it up and set it on fire.
...has doubled in this young generation.
Do you fear Facebook more?
Oh, it's basically, it's how do we get a Prager show on our network without having another fucking Prager show?
Or God? Every religious person should ask themselves that question.
We have replaced God with our smartphones. And if you can't follow the guidance of God and let it tell you when to turn left and after the next light, move to the center lane, if you can't take that, and when the Lord speaks to you and says, arrived, then that's a real problem.
People told me, well, you could be a mainstream artist if you want to. You might be able to reach more people if you water down my message.
Kindness doesn't mean you have to be agreeable. It just means you have to be kind and respectful.
Let's talk about it, right?
Well, I mean, I think what they mean is just being nice, not kindness. Kindness is deeper than nice. They're just talking about nice, but yeah.
On Takeaways.
Please welcome Kirk Cameron. Kirk, great to have you here. You're starting a brand new show right here on TBN. Tell us about it. What's it?
Yeah, do you have a giant Grand Ole Opry empty set that you get to sit in where apparently no one has to be within 35 feet of you? Or do they just put you in a corner?
Be like.
So I've had the privilege over the last couple of decades being in TV and movies to meet some pretty exciting people.
Oh, indeed he has. Shall we take a trip down memory lane? Shall we? Can we? If I may. Just get in here for a second. Literally the first thing, if you're ever looking for something, if you ever want to look at a piece of, he's been able to meet some really interesting people. And sit on oddly high chairs on a blanket by a river with an Australian talking about bananas.
I've since learned that when you really look at the evidence, the truth is it takes more faith to be an atheist than it does to believe in God. You've really got to ignore the facts. It's funny how we equate.
It's funny how we equate that. And let me make the dumbest fucking analogy that any Christian has ever made in the whole wide world.
The word atheism with intellectual, when it's the exact opposite. That's right. Kirk, I have an intellectually stimulating theory. It's my theory of where the soda can may have come from. Billions of years ago, there was a big bang in space. Nobody knows what caused the big bang. It just happened. And from this bang issued this huge rock. On top of the rock was found a sweet, brown, bubbly substance. And over millions of years, aluminum crept up the side, formed itself in a can, then a lid, and then a tab. And then millions of years later, red paint.
Yeah, hi, real quick. Yeah, Jake Wallaby from Australia. I've got a bit of a problem with your analogy in that you're talking about a man-made invention. You might want to stick to natural things because, quite frankly, there have been multiple steps. There was no big bang moment for the creation of a pull-top can. As a matter of fact, there's a major turning point in them. The original ones that were invented had a pull-top, but a lot of people would pull the top off, crack the tubes, and then they'd take the little ring and the little slice of the thing, and they'd put it down inside it so they wouldn't litter or toss around something they might step on later. Well, a bunch of these fuckers choke to death on them. So that's why when you open them now, the thing just stays in the top.
Blue paint, white paint fell from the sky and formed itself into the words, 12 fluid ounces, do not litter. You're saying, what are you doing? You're insulting my intellect. And so I am. Because we know if the can is made, there must be a maker. If it's designed, there must be a designer. To believe this...
Yeah, and there's lots of them, actually, and people designed them over the world. As a matter of fact, it started out with us just cupping our hands.
Can happen by chance.
I'm sure somewhere along the way, about 2000 BBC, someone tried to put a pull tab on the top of your hands, and it cut them, and because they had no antiseptic, lots of people died.
Is to move into an intellectual free zone. It's to have an echo when you think. It's to have brain liposuction. Hold this, Kirk. Behold the atheist's nightmare. Now, if you study a well-made...
Now, this is here we crisscross into the soda can of fruit.
Banana, you'll find on the far side there are 3 ridges. On the close side, 2 ridges. If you get your hand ready to grip a banana, you'll find on the far side...
Oh, believe me. You don't have to tell me, mate. I've done this many times.
There are 3 grooves on the close side, 2 grooves.
And then what do you do with it? Please. Hold on. I'm going to loosen my belt. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to let this sit there for a second. Now, what I really want to tell you about is the miracle of 1 chicken and 5 eggs.
5 eggs.
That's right. Most
5
people
eggs
think
in a month
is all you're going to get.
Eat
But ultimately,
2 eggs a day.
That's what Jesus would want. That's how men walk around. Every man has to eat 2 eggs, or there's nothing in his pants.
5 eggs.
Is definitely qualify for 5 eggs today. That's right. Don't forget, 5 eggs and 4 bananas.
The banana and the hand are...
Oh, you take it and you like it. Sorry, we got to... What happened there? 1 second.
Side, there are 3 grooves on the close side, 2 grooves. The banana and the hand are...
Bam! Like, that is not... he's not gentle at all. This dude is not playing just the tip with this banana. He's not holding back at all. Just ease up, dude. A lot of us are wincing when you do that. Just take it easy.
One for the other. You'll find the maker of the banana, Almighty God, has made it with a non...
Yeah, Almighty God made the banana that big around, brown, and with only 3 creases in it, you dingo.
Slip surface. It has outward indicators.
A non-slip surface. Well, it depends how sweaty you are when you got your hands on your banana. I don't know about you, but a lot of times when I'm holding my banana, there's nothing that can keep it in my hand. I keep having to re-grab it and re-grab it and re-grab it.
Inward contents, green, too early, yellow.
Look how happy Kirk is. Glad I wore my green shirt today.
Right, black, too late. Now, if you go to the top of the...
Oh, by the way, you're supposed to open a banana from the other end, but if we tell him that, I'm afraid where it will go. So it's best to let him live with his delusion. But if you if you thought the hand part was bad, wait till he shows you how to eat it. Oh yeah. I'm starting to think some of you might need a seatbelt.
You'll find, as with the soda can makers, they placed a tab at the top. So God has placed a tab at the top. When you pull the tab, the contents don't squirt in your face. You'll find the wrapper, which...
Actually, citation needed.
in your face. You'll find the wrapper, which is biodegradable. The tab, the contents don't squirt in your face. You'll find the wrapper...
I'm sorry, I apologize.
Top. When you pull the tab, the contents don't squirt in your face. You'll find the...
Well, then obviously, maybe it's because you're gripping it too fast right away. You know what I mean? Maybe slow down. Ease up. I mean, I'm not a fucking machine, right?
Wrapper, which is biodegradable, has perforations. Notice how gracefully it sits over the human hand. Notice...
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Here it comes. No pun intended. Shit.
There's a point at the top for ease of entry. It's just the right shape for the human mouth.
But he didn't do that long. Boy, you could tell he was at least aware that you want to hold still for that freeze frame.
Notice has a point at the top for ease of entry. It's just the right shape for the human mouth.
I'm seriously, I'm like this close to checking a registry to make sure this asshole can go anywhere near a school. Oh, God. Why wouldn't you give Kirk Cameron his own show? The guests he's going to have on are going to be magic. Shit.
It's chewy, easy to digest, and it's even curved.
Yeah, no, never chew.
With the face to make the whole process so much easier. Seriously, Kirk, the whole of creation testifies to the genius of God's creative hand.
It absolutely does. You think of the human eye.
Yes, it's a great source of blue dye if you ever want to make like a flag that, you know, like let's just say like you're in prison, you want to make a flag, you don't have enough blue ink to make one, you can always go straight to, you know, the human eyeball. Just shiv your cellmate, and then, you know, God will give you enough blue to make an American flag.
40,000 nerve endings and focusing muscles that move more than 100,000 times a day. The human eye has over 137 million light-sensitive cells.
And even Charles Darwin himself said,
To suppose that the eye could have been formed by natural selection seems, I freely confess, absurd in the highest degree.
Yeah, it seems that way, but also, I don't know why, I've never understood why the evolutionary concept and deity seems out of the question. If you have an extra temporal being that runs the entire universe, our entire existence happens in what's effectively the blink of an eye to them, no pun intended. So who gives a shit if it took billions of years to get, like, oh god.
so even the
Oh, I'm being gross, Northwestern Star. I'm being gross. I'm being gross.
the creator of the theory of evolution says it just goes against my common sense and logic.
Yeah, that's because of the time he was in and the fact that he got sued over it. Like, okay. So anyways, Ray Comfort on the... And by the way, the title of this video, god damn it, the title of this video is just beautiful. Ray Comfort on the banana in context. I'm sorry. Oh God. So yeah, there we go. But now, so we're I hope we're guaranteed some level of takeaways like that one.
Honored to be talking to you, by the way, Governor Huckabee. Look up to you.
Why?
A lot. I look up to guys like Ben Carson, and not just in the political world, but you're men of faith. And I've had a chance to have these back.
Well, yeah, faith in, you know, a second generation rich kid who cheats at golf and has 27 valid sexual assault claims against him. But yeah, faith, I guess.
Conversations with so many people, from actors and musicians and politicians and authors and men and women of faith. And I always wish there was some way that I can include more people on these conversations. You know, I rush home and
Yeah, it's like, it's weird. It's almost like YouTube doesn't exist. I wish while we were having these great conversations, people could see them. But, you know,
wife, honey, you're never going to believe the conversation I had with so-and-so. And I tried.
Well, that has more to do with your relationship with your wife, I guess. Does she just not believe you in general? Oh, here comes your father again. He's going to tell us he had a great conversation, and he's really just been sitting in the park yelling at birds.
Convey it, and I never seem to
trying to show him how a banana works.
Able to, and I thought, wouldn't it be great to have these conversations out in the open? With guys like Dennis Prager, with guys like Dinesh D'Souza, with people like myself.
Yeah, because they're not on the internet talking all the fucking time.
For Candace Cameron and Charlie Kirk and Mike Huckabee and Matthew West and others.
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with the second to last gentleman.
And talk about art and entertainment. Talk about the power of story to communicate messages of faith. To talk about how...
What are you looking at? You're confusing Mike Huckabee, and it looks like you're making it all up. Or is God telling you directly what to think? You know, the things that I believe are very much, Lord, tell me what to say.
Politics affect education with our children. And
honestly, there is a lot of odd... I know, dude, if you're going to do this kind of show, you're going to need to get used to looking into the camera. Doesn't take much.
A whole host of subjects, and not just have the conversations, Mike, but then say, okay, what do I do with this? All right, that's great.
Excuse me, it's Governor Huckabee. Or Bubba.
And Dinesh D'Souza has a size 10 brain.
In a size 20 skull. It's a child's 10, but sure.
So does Dennis Prager, but I can't talk like them. What can I take away from the conversation?
Yeah, me no have got big words, say things with big things like Souza Dinesh. say thing with face. Me no say what I do. Honey, I have more great word face thing with peoples. Want to tape. Get show. Get show for me. For me. Really, imagine thinking you're intellectually outpaced by Dinesh D'Souza and Dennis Prager.
I can put into action. And so we thought that'd be a great name for the show. Takeaways, actionable items from
Yeah, these are things I can go to the store with.
These conversations with fascinating people that can help us change our world.
I think that is an exciting idea. I'm looking forward to watching the series.
Yeah, I don't believe you. He doesn't believe you either. Look at this freeze frame. I didn't even try for that. I just stopped it. Dead giveaway. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be good. He's on our network. I've got to watch it. Huh? You're going to watch it?
Yeah, you know, it's sometimes difficult to have a conversation with people without bringing up all the political things that are going on. But it sounds like that the...
Yeah. Maybe it's because of what you do for a living and how you're incapable of talking about anything else.
Focus of takeaways is not going to be on politics and current events as much as it is the impact of faith and how that changes, whether it changes the way we approach art, changes the way we approach politics, our approach.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, faith will determine, like, say you're, I don't know, walking up to Michelangelo's David. If you have a deep and abiding faith, you have a smaller chance of chipping your teeth on his fig leaf. But
is that a fair assessment?
Bring back the banana porn, right? I may not know art, but I know what I like.
What's going to be unique about the show?
I think that's perfect.
Yeah, tell us. Yeah, something else, because I'm not. This just seems dumb.
I really think that's perfect. I like, as a man of faith, to see the world through the lens of the truth of Scripture. I think it was C.S. Lewis who said, I believe in the sun not just because I see it, but because of the sun, I can see everything else. And so I want.
Yeah, that does it. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah. We're all on board. Yeah. You know what? You should open the show with that.
Look at the world through the eyes of faith.
How about looking at your interviewer with your own fucking eyes by looking at the camera in front of you? If you're going to be hosting this goddamn show, you've been on television. You know how this shit works. You played an anchor man in the Left Behind movies. And by the way, for the record, some people will say that Anchorman is the funniest movie about an anchorman. Au contraire, the Left Behind movies are the funniest movies about an anchorman. They just don't mean to be.
Because God's the one who made this world, and he can alone tell us how it really works and how we as his image bearers can.
Yes, and oftentimes he'll do it on a window. If you go up and breathe on it, he'll leave you notes.
On the earth. And Jesus prayed, Lord, may your kingdom come and your will be done on earth as it is.
Do these guys is it just a day where these people have to use the word come just to mess with me?
Heaven. And so I've come up with this little phrase of, we're here to heavenize the earth. And we do it not primarily through politics, although that's very important.
Well, yeah, I mean, basically, tell people to hate and mistrust the government, and then, foment their anger until they charge up the steps and shit in the place and try to kill people. That kind of little politics. It's the little things.
We do that not through military action or through education, although all those things are very important.
Yeah, I mean, both of those are my two favorite ways to teach turn the other cheek. Or was it Matt Gaetz who said that?
Is heavenized by the power of God working through the hearts of you and me.
Wasn't Heavenize a song by Warrant?
As the family of faith, as we interact with the world in all of these different categories. And it may be singing and songwriting. It may be making movies. It may be doing a talk show like you're doing.
Well, it's probably not. I was with you on the singing part, but what he's doing is not. That's not faith in action. Get the fuck out of here. It's the exact opposite. Dude is like yelling at half the planet.
Maybe as a contractor, as a plumber, as a mom, dad, teacher, lawyer, doctor, all of these things.
That person must be exhausted and trans.
I think are ordained by God.
What are you? I'm a mom, dad, teacher, lawyer, doctor. My pronouns are buzz and off.
And all of them are critical aspects to shaping a culture that is a heavenly place to live in. And that's what we want for our kids.
I think that is great. I love the word heavenize. That's a new one for me, but it's one that I'm going to take and use.
Yeah, you thieving bastard.
You credit, though. And by the way, I want to give you credit for the start of a brand new series, Kirk Cameron's Takeaways. Do not.
That was an excellent transition. Give you credit for that. That's so nice.
Miss this new show, especially don't miss the second episode. And to keep up with all of Kirk's latest.
That's the one that he basically just interviews all the people that are on that network. And then the Prager people that are attached to it, D'Souza and those folks that are funding the other half of it. They're splitting the production costs. So he's just going to interview the hosts.
Including his Camp Firefly program. Be sure to visit KirkCameron.com. Oh, you all know.
Which is, by the way, not to be confused with Matt Gaetz' program, which is called Camp Openfly. It's a very different place. Funding is dried up. That's weird. Yeah. I'm over time. Okay, so there's so much shit. Oh God. Afghanistan, 70 days, America left behind. I can't do, we gotta go. I can't. This is so, America's destruction is their goal. 5 insane stories all connect. The Holy Mother are the 2 words Glenn used to describe the headlines from the last 3 days alone. In this clip, he runs some of the headlines, most of which highlight even more government abuse, and then he shows you how they all connect. These are all tied together. This is okay. We end a little bit.
I just want to give you the headlines because I think it's important for
that you don't look deep within the story, and especially whatever you do not read the 3rd paragraph of any news story because you'll often find it will directly contradict the headline itself.
Overall picture. So I want to spend 20 minutes just to give you what has come out in the news.
Yes, 20 minutes. He's going to give it 20 minutes. This video is 16 minutes and 58 seconds.
The last 3 days since we last.
I don't know if you know this, but the hidden inside the infrastructure bill, the Democrats removed 4 minutes from the world. This was a 20-minute segment until that bill passed.
Matt. Holy mother. So.
He's not Catholic, by the way. He's Mormon.
We have more information about Dashenko. He is the guy who was the source, if you will, for...
If I will, you mean one of the sources? The guy who was in Putin's inner circle?
The Steele dossier. Okay? Everything that happened, all this Russian... collusion and, Donald Trump has a, really bad film from Russia that was made.
Yeah, he's got a really bad film from Russia. They did a reverse version of White Knights. but it wasn't dancing. It was about hockey. Sucked.
Aiden.
However, I did not know Donald Trump could ice skate, and neither did he.
He's, making it with prostitutes, et cetera,
Yes, no one's ever made that case before.
that stuff. All of it now, we know, was not only false, but we know now that the FBI knew that in 20.
By the way, no, we do not. That is not the assertion at all.
17 had a pretty good idea in 2016. In 2017, they were very clear on it.
No, they weren't.
They knew where it came from. And this guy is made into this Russian operative, and maybe he is, maybe he isn't.
Well, I think that would be the area where you would make a decision about whether this is valid. If he is, it is. If he isn't, it isn't. If you're in the maybe he is, maybe he isn't, then you can't write off the whole thing because you don't even give a fuck enough to figure it out on your own.
But he was at a liberal think tank. And he wasn't coming up with the stuff himself. He was being fed information from...
Yeah, he was hooked into Putin's inner circle. He knew them. He had an inside line.
A Clinton supporter. Somebody was on her campaign staff. So he didn't get it from Russia. He gets it from this guy.
All right. Let's look that up. Let's see. Where's the... So let's see if he puts up the headline. He hasn't done that yet.
All of this now lays right at the feet of Hillary Clinton. Was this a coup? You can make...
If it was, it didn't work because she lost.
Case that this was a coup of sorts. They were trying to overthrow his presidency. If this was happening in any other country, we would say it was a failed state.
No, we would not. We would just say there's political intrigue between parties. Why the fuck would you say it's a failed state?
When a major party can use the government apparatus and the media apparatus to smear
or to hide
and to build a case against an innocent guy just to thwart him, and they all knew.
I thought innocent guy. I thought we were talking about Trump.
Washington Post knew in either 17 or 2018. They knew. And yet they continued to win the Pulitzer. They continued the lies.
Where's the headline?
Okay, so that happened.
So I know
so
that happened. No, it did not. Here, hold on one second. I don't know which headline he's referencing. One would think if you're going to go, I'm going to stitch these headlines together, maybe put them on fucking screen. Maybe say what they are. Let's see. Steele source indictment. This is and basically this is just Durham going after Trump's dude. Yeah, here it is. Igor Danchenko. This is what he's talking about. This is Durham, who Trump put behind to go after his political enemies, is doing that very thing. Steele dossier source arrested in Durham probe. Was he arrested for lying about the contents of the Steele dossier? Charged with 5 counts of false statements and an inquiry into the origins of the FBI Trump investigation. The special counsel probing the oranges. I did it. Trump of the investigation into ties between the 2016 campaign in Russia has brought false statement charges against a Washington-based foreign policy researcher and Russian immigrant who was a key source. Not the. A key source, all lowercase. A keys. A. Okay, all right. For intelligence dossier that played an important role in the early stage of the FBI. Igor Danchenko was arrested Thursday in Northern Virginia on indictment that Special Counsel Durham obtained, charging the Russian-born researcher with 5 felony counts of making false statements to the FBI. Information from Danchenko was central element of the series of reports from a former British spy. Yes, but what are the... Obviously, they help fuel the FBI probe, provide fodder for requests, made to secret surveillance... made to a secret surveillance court to obtain warrants to examine the communications of a former foreign policy advisor, Carter Page. By the way, the changes made to his FISA warrant made it less likely, not more likely, that they would continue to get a warrant against him. Fuck Carter Page. However, several claims in the dossier turned out to be false, prompting Congressional Inspector General and criminal investigations into how the reports were compiled and why the U.S. government gave them such credence. Several claims. Which ones aren't? And which ones are you arguing were? Okay, here we go. According to Durham or according to reality? At a brief hearing on Thursday afternoon, prosecutors did not ask Danchenko be detained as he awaits trial. Magistrate Judge Teresa Buchanan orders his release on $100,000 unsecured bond. Prosecutor said there was a plan for Danchenko to surrender on Thursday, but that because of a press leak, the FBI arrested the defendant instead. Prosecutors allege that in a series of interviews with the FBI, Danchenko fabricated details and altered the sequence of key events he described that related to the so-called dossier. The indictment also alleges that he was working closely with at least one individual close to Clinton's presidential campaign, and that Danchenko falsely denied having contact with that person. By the way, this is kind of an important word. Why do you think Durham is there? To poke holes and split. Danchenko was first identified as Steele source amid a Senate Republican investigation that culminated in the final weeks of last year's presidential election. Then Senate Judiciary Lindsey Graham released the transcript of an interview Danchenko conducted with the FBI in January 27, in which he revealed that some of the most explosive allegations in the Steele dossier were based on hearsay and rumor. The transcript, exactly. That's why they're, this is things I've heard. This is why these are not verified. That was the problem with them. It's intel. The transcript, there was not an indictment. The Steele dossier was not an indictment. It was background material, what word on the street was, what sources said. They didn't, and by the way, the Clinton campaign didn't run with it because they couldn't double verify a lot of these things, and they thought they were going to win anyways. The transcript was declassified, though Graham didn't identify Danchenko when he released the redacted interview summary. The document included enough identifying it was quickly revealed as a source. Around that time, Graham released another document, also declassified by Barr, that included a synopsis of counterintelligence investigation the FBI conducted into Danchenko from 2009 to 2011. The probe included an examination of whether Danchenko sought to obtain classified information on Russia's behalf, but it was closed without any findings, and Danchenko was continued to reside in the United States. Okay. Yet Trump's allies pointed the closed investigation to label Danchenko a spy and accused Democrats and the FBI of weaponizing Russian disinfo. New indictment does not allege that Danchenko was working for the Russian government or Russian interests, but it hints that he might have been. The charges say that, well, that's what you want to do in an indictment, hint at things. The charges say in June 2016, public relations executive and Democratic activist, wrote an email that said of Danchenko, he's too young for KGB, but I think he worked for the FSB. Since he told me he spent 2 years in Iran, and when I first met him, he knew more about me than I did, winking emoticon. The PR executive who offered the candid assessment of Danchenko goes unnamed in the indictment, but he's the longtime Democratic activist, Russia's relations expert Chuck Dolan Jr., an attorney for Dolan confirmed on it. Chuck understands and appreciates your interest. I confirm that he is PR executive number 1 in the indictment. As he is a witness in an ongoing case, it would be inappropriate for him to... Okay, Dolan is not charged the case. Served 1990, the more Dolan stuff. That's the dude he was working with. Let's see. Then they could have been very concerned. In that case, I'll waive electronic monitoring. They released him. Ordered Danchenko to stay away from possible witnesses in the case, unlike Marge and Gohmert. As Danchenko left a lawyer for him did not immediately respond to request. Third person to face criminal charges. Here's a good idea. Let's look at, and I know this is going to drag out, the indictment. On or about the thing, they opened Crossfire Hurricane into Donald Trump, coordinating activities with it. Beginning in or about July 16th, through December 26th, the FBI received a series of reports from a former British employee, UK Person 1, that contained derogatory information on then candidate concerning his reported ties, the company reports. Why is it called the company report? That's it. Earlier that year, it's not the Steele dossier, or that's the code for it. Earlier that year, a U.S.-based international law firm acting as counsel to Hillary Clinton campaign had retained a U.S.-based investigative firm, that'd be Fusion GPS, I guess, to conduct research on Trump and his associates in or about 2016. And by the way, they bought the Steele dossier was already being crafted by Fusion GPS for the Washington Free Beacon, I think. And they bought it off them because the Washington Free Beacon decided to back Trump. And his UK-based firm, to investigate Trump's purported ties to Russia. During the later, he employs the company reports played an important role in applications that FBI personnel prepared and submitted to obtain warrants pursuant to the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, targeting a United States citizen who'd been an advisor. This is about Carter Page. Most of the reports said they didn't, but we'll take Durham as his indictment. This is what he's putting. In connection with the FBI Crossfire Hurricane investigation, the later investigation by Robert Mueller, the FBI relied substantially on the company reports in these FISA applications to assert probable cause against Advisor 1 was a witting agent of the Russian Federation. That's Carter Page. It obtained a total of 4 court-approved FISA applications targeting Advisor 1, which authorized intrusive electronic surveillance of him from in or about October 26th through September 2017. Each of the FISA applications set forth the FBI as a known Russian further alleged the company led the idea was a well-coordinated conspiracy of cooperation between Trump's campaign. Based on that, they thought that was true. Over time, FBI attempted to investigate, vet, and analyze company reports, but ultimately was not able to confirm or corroborate most. So they were able to confirm or corroborate some of them. Which ones? Maybe you should list those in the indictment. I would love to hear which ones they were able to substantiate. In the context of these efforts, the FBI learned that UK Person 1 relied primarily on a U.S.-based Russian national, Igor Danchenko, the defendant herein, to collect the information. Okay, so he wasn't making it up necessarily, but he got it. That ultimately formed the core of the allegations found in the company reports. From in or about the 2017th, part of the several Danchenko reports, as alleged in further detail, he lied to the FBI agents during these interviews. Let's see, regarding had provided, several interviews of Danchenko regarding, among other things, the information that Danchenko had provided to UK Person 1, collectively, the interviews. First, Danchenko stated falsely that he had never communicated with a particular U.S.-based individual who was a longtime participant in Democratic politics and was an executive at the U.S. public relations firm. And that's probably the dude who said, yeah, that was him. About any allegations contained in the company reports. In truth, well-knew sourced one or more specific allegations in company reports anonymously to PR Executive 1. PR Executive 1's role as a contributor of information was highly relevant and material to the FBI's evaluations of reports because PR Executive 1 maintained pre-existing and ongoing relationships with numerous persons named or described in the company report. So they were involved. They knew people in Russia as well. They'd been dealing with Russia, and they were talking back and forth about stuff, including one of Danchenko's Russian sub-sources detailed below. Very exciting. PR Executive 1 maintained historical and ongoing involvement in Democratic politics, which bore upon PR Executive 1's reliability, motivations, and potential bias as a source of information for the company reports. That doesn't mean they're false. That just means that that's the angle they're taking, that they have to be taken with a grain of salt because that person is obviously got a bone to pick with Trump because they're aware of what kind of human being he is. Gathered some of the information contained in the reports as at events in Moscow, organized by PR Executive 1. Okay, so that wouldn't be stuff that he carried there, but he got him over there or something. And others that Danchenko attended at PR Executive 1's invitation. So he got him into these places. Indeed, as alleged below, certain allegations provided UK Person 1, which appeared in the company reports, mirrored and/or reflected information that PR Executive 1 himself also had received through his own interactions with Russian nationals. Yeah, they all talked about it. It's only a big secret over here. Of course there's a PP tape, is the thing. Second, Danchenko stated falsely during the interviews that in or about late July, he received an anonymous phone call from an individual who Danchenko believed to be a particular U.S. citizen and who was then president of the Russian-American Chamber of Commerce, Chamber President 1, because of all the other chamber presidents. Also falsely stated that during his phone call, the person he believed to be Chamber 1 informed him in part about information that company reports later described as demonstrating a well-developed conspiracy of cooperation. Between the Trump campaign, Danchenko and information, and truth and fact, as Danchenko well knew, never received such a phone call or such information from any person he believed to be Chamber Person 1. So he's a paid source, and he was padding his sources. He was padding what he was given to steal. But he was padding it with stuff that they already knew from other sources. Danchenko never made any arrangements to meet him. Rather, he fabricated these facts regarding him. As alleged in further detail, all of Danchenko's lies were material to the FBI because, among other reasons, the investigation of the Trump campaign relied largely on the company reports to obtain FISA warrants on advisor number one. Well, the source on this one, and by the way, that's still alleged because that wasn't the primary finding. They didn't rely fully on those. But let's just say they got him from this other source and they knew that people would go, well, that guy works with the Democrats. He can't be trusted. Doesn't mean the stuff's false still. The FBI ultimately devoted substantial resources attempting to investigate and corroborate the allegations, including the reliability of his subsources. Oh, so they looked into these things. They checked the reliability. They did their job. And the company reports, as well as information collected by reports of Danchenko, played a role in the FBI's investigative decisions and in sworn representations the FBI made to the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court through the relevant time period. So as they checked on it, at all times relevant to this indictment he was a citizen of Russia, lawfully in the United States, resided in Washington, 2005 to 2010. By the way, are you going to get inside information about Trump's shit in Russian from non-Russians? Worked as an analyst at a think tank one, where he focused primarily on Russia, Eurasian geopolitical matters, you think. UK person one, you guys, all times relevant assignment was a Virginia-based public relations firm. That's the Fusion GPS thing, I think. Had served as a chamber of the Democratic political national, state chairman of a former President Clinton's 92-96 presidential campaigns, and advisor to Hillary Clinton's 2008 president. Moreover, beginning in and around 1997, appointed PR executive 1 to 2 4-year terms as an advisory commission of the U.S. State Department with respect to the 2016. Okay, his role as public relations. Okay, that's the guy. That's not Danchenko. That's the guy he was talking to. Let's see. Beginning, and he went to the thing at the Moscow hotel. To that end, the October conference included individuals who could provide insight into the economic, political, diplomatic, cultural aspects of the Russian Federation. That's kind of important. Organizer 1 enlisted him to participate in that conference. His ability to set up meetings with senior Russian government officials, provide analysis of the 2016 thing in preparation. They put a planning trip. Shortly after, asked him to assist him in conference. Blah blah blah. Yeah, they were looking for stuff in Russia. He is too young for that. That's where that part is. Winking emoticon. FSB is the Federal Security Service of the Russian Federation. PR1 also attended a meeting with Russian embassy on the September 14, 2016. He did not attend those meetings. Okay. Unless he lied about it, which would be, I guess, germane to this. Visited PR executive. This is just basically you can't trust him because he was hanging around with people who didn't trust Trump either. Maintain communications with the Russian national, that's his subsource 1, based in a foreign country 1, who, according to him, act as one of his primary sources of information, and Russian subsource 1 initially met as children in Russia and remained friends thereafter. Began a business in country 1, business 1 that was owned by a Russian national and would later appear in company reports. Okay, so they knew each other. Interbound in 2016, Danchenko learned Russian subsource 1 was interested. U.S.-based public relations firm assisted, brokered a meeting with him, set them up, and they all talked about it. Okay, yeah. This is all like just because these are your gossip sources. Half it's going to be PR, half it's going to be inside spies. What do you think? Well, like, track all the spy interactions between people and chart it on paper. It's all going to look like this. Stated in part, I am preparing for information on USSR, USE countries. Igor possibly told you about that. Tomorrow your country is having a great day. So is big Hillary fan. Wish her and all the supporters have a victory day. Hope that someday her book will have one more autograph in it. Thanks for your support. Subsource 1. Chamber president. Yeah, I mean, they didn't act on the report because they didn't think they'd need to because they thought they were going to win. And then they were like, holy shit, this guy won, and he did all this shit. An American political figure associated with Donald Trump and his campaign outlined reasons behind recent demise. Ukraine revelation. What was this part? The allegation in the company report stated, close associate of Trump explains reasoning behind campaign manager's recent resignation. Ukraine revelations played part, but others wanted out for certain reasons, especially who remains influential. Speaking separately, also in 2016, an American political figure associated with Trump and his campaign outlined the reasons behind the recent demise. He said, it was true that Ukraine corruption revelations played a part in this, but also several senior players close to Trump had wanted that person out, primarily to loosen his control on strategy and policy formulation. Of particular importance in this regard was predecessor's campaign manager, personally remained close to Trump, with whom he discussed presidential campaign on a regular basis. All that stuff bore out because of Rudy and Lev and Igor. Any thought, rumor, allegation I'm working on a related project against Trump? Let's see. Could you please ask someone to comment on this? Off the record, of course. I asked 3 months ago. He didn't say much. That just kind of. Is this Igor and Lev, or this Igor Danchenko? Hi, I had a drink with Geo Professor who knows some of the players. Some of this article. She told me that who hates so and so still speaks to Trump regularly. Played a role. He is said to be doing a happy dance over it. I think the bottom line, in addition to the Ukraine revelations, a number of people wanted campaign so and so gone. It's very sharp elbows crowd. Okay. Anyways. We'll take it that was the Washington Post article. That proves no such thing.
I also is the victim in that one. I just want you to know. They say they were duped. Now, the FBI also went out and tried to find a lost diary this weekend.
A lost diary. They went out and tried to find a lost diary. Let's see. I'll find it. Hold on. Holding. Let's see. Biden. Let's see. Biden daughter diary. That's what he's talking about. FBI searches Project Veritas associates and probe over diary purportedly belonging to Biden's daughter. Took place Thursday. One in an apartment on the 35th Street in New York City. Another at home in Mamaroneck, New York. The FBI confirmed Friday. This is what he's referring to. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
Now, this one, you helped me out. I was reading Jonathan Turley's opinion on this weekend, and he's right.
Did you read anybody else's opinion on it, or just Jonathan Turley's?
This is an absolute over-the-line abuse of justice, and the FBI needs to be called into account from the Senate, from the House.
Yeah, I think you just want them dismantled, right? And by the way, Turley's article is is on Fox News. They're the ones carrying it. Says FBI. Here it is. Derp. Says FBI's involvement in alleged theft of Ashley Biden's diary raises legitimate concern. George Washington University Law said Monday that the FBI's investigation of the alleged theft of a diary belonging to President Biden's daughter raises legitimate concern over the first family's connection to the Bureau. It's a federal case. It's meant to be subterfuge to attack the family of the president. It's not a simple local theft. Part of the New York Times reported the raid took place. Okay, why would the FBI coming into this? Asked on America Reports. Yeah, why didn't the local cops raid my place? Project Veritas said it didn't run the information and notified local enforcement, so there's legitimate concern when the FBI becomes involved in this type of story as to whether it's going outside of those navigational beacons that we used to judge or whether they acted independently. He's always been a trustworthy fellow. addressed the incident on Monday, explaining that tipsters approached his group last year, alleging to have Ashley Biden's diary containing explosive allegations about her father, then the Democratic nominee, and that the diary was allegedly abandoned in a room where she stayed. The tipsters claimed they stayed in the same room afterwards where they found the diary. The tipsters, who O'Keefe said he never met prior, were apparently negotiating with media outlets to sell Biden's diary, and that ultimately they did not publish the book's contents because his group was not able to independently verify its authenticity. Turley said the FBI's curious involvement reminds him of recent reporting revealing Secret Service intervened in Biden's time as vice president after his son, the handgun, I lied, silly. A lot of people asked at that time, why would the FBI be involved in that if that's true? Does raise questions about the promise made by the Biden administration that is going to be more careful when dealing with media figures. If people are shopping, it isn't even the diary at that point. This has nothing to do with the diary. This has to do with a plot to attack our elections by stealing things. The fact that it's a diary is sort of immaterial in this. But,
And the people. You've already destroyed your credibility, FBI. Now, here's what happened. Do you remember a story about a year ago, I think, that there was a diary from Joe Biden's daughter? And in it, she had said that she had taken inappropriate showers with her father when she was young. She also said...
Oh, well, she didn't also say. The book they gave out or were saying was hers allegedly said that. Now, if I got a hold of your diary and I wanted to, I was working with somebody, I wanted to bring down a president or stop a campaign, finding somebody who does a fairly decent job forging your handwriting and then going in and finding any, missing like a page you didn't write much on or the backside of a page and just going, no. Yeah, we'll just basically construct like that. And then we'll just sell the whole thing. Who's going to know what's real and what's fake? And by the time they figure it out, it's all over.
I don't think it says the abuser, but she also said she was abused sexually, I think by a family member, but it doesn't pin it on Joe Biden. So there was some sort of sexual problems going on, and there were showers with daddy. Also, in that diary, she talks about how she and the other...
Again, this is like the Hunter Biden laptop. They're just floating on this, it allegedly says in this book that's allegedly hers.
Children of the family resent dad so much because of the way he controls all of the money.
Yeah, that's how it seems to be since they all talked him into running.
Which goes right to the Hunter laptop, which we now know is true.
No, we don't know it's true. It's fake. It doesn't exist. Show me a picture of it, asshole.
True. Well, they denied that this diary had anything like that. There was no, that's not true. All of this is just gobbledygook. Really?
Right.
Well, the FBI broke into several members of the Project Veritas staff.
Yeah, related to this story from last year where they said they had this thing because an attempted forgery to attack a presidential campaign in the country is a violation of the law. Shopping it around or attempting to float these ideas or seeding these ideas out using this fake document, if they're forging someone's information, that would bring the FBI. That would bring them to your door.
Their homes this weekend, searching for anything related to the to the diary.
Well, it's the same thing. I mean, they don't physically exist, so.
Now, here's what happened with the diary. The diary, according to Project Veritas, was from an anonymous tipster that said, "Hey, this diary is here. It was left behind.
Yeah, that happens.
Just go get it."
Yeah, they picked it up when they Airbnb'd the Biden house.
Okay, well, all right. It would be really hard.
Yeah, she took it to there's a blind diary repair shop.
to believe that if that hadn't just happened
with the Hunter Biden laptop.
Exactly right.
Maybe this is just.
Yeah, it's maybe it's the same bullshit story because everything's a reboot and nothing worked.
Something this family does.
Yes.
They leave really important documents in very strange places.
Or, if you don't want to use Occam's rubber mallet, Rudy Giuliani paid $5 million for a hard drive from Ukraine that he pawns off as being from a laptop that belonged to Hunter with this whole bullshit story. Remember, the original laptop was supposedly found at the home of a shrink that worked for Fox News, but then he was busted for drugging and diddling his patients, so they had to cook up the blind repair shop story. And it worked so well, they're like, hey, let's shop this shit.
Okay, so they left the diary behind. Project Veritas goes and gets it. They do not publish the story because they can't verify that the diary is actually hers.
But that won't stop Glenn Beck from quoting it as if it is.
Hey?
You know, because he's a Mormon and that's what they do. That's right, Mormons. You own the worst of you. This is how Mormons roll now.
So they turn it over to the police. Now, this is a year ago. And you might remember this story because it made just a little blip. Nobody in the mainstream media was willing to touch it. Well, now we know that the diary is real because the White House had the Justice Department and the FBI break down the doors of these people's houses on Saturday morning.
Is that why? Because it was real? Or because this was part of another fabricated thing that they were intending on leaking through this, and they have multiple copies of it, and it turns out to be a forgery, and that's the crime itself. And they also go, hey, this is James O'Keefe's handwriting.
And they were looking for anything related to that diary. Now, may I ask, what is the federal crime that would have been committed here with a diary? If
it would be forgery, attempted, I guess, let's see. Technically, if they gave it to law enforcement saying it was that thing and they made it themselves, and there was reason to believe after the FBI looked at it, they're like, no, they crafted this. The idea was that they made a forgery, they made copies of it, they gave it to law enforcement saying that someone had given it to them, but they copied it, and then they kept the copy and they went, this is a copy of the thing we gave to law enforcement. They haven't talked about it ever since because they're hiding it. When they really made it up themselves, that would be lying to law enforcement and defrauding them and forgery. And I mean, there's a bunch of charges.
Daughter loses her diary and it has bad things in it about me. Is the FBI going to investigate and kick down the doors of maybe some boy in high school that took it from her? I don't think so. Since when is that a federal crime? Now, if it had things...
Right. However, forging it and giving it to the authorities and saying that somebody else gave it to you and then having a copy of it that you photocopied or what have you, that you were going to selectively leak out or manipulate or those kind of things, and they figure out that that's a forgery and that the forgery wasn't from somebody else. They looked into it. Turns out it didn't come from a tipster or an outside source, that you were the one shopping it around. That would be one of the reasons why they would kick your door in.
Where I was abusing her and they needed that for evidence, I could see, but that's not what they were doing.
Well, I mean, I would argue that my version of events is far more plausible than your lunacy.
So the FBI is completely out of control. The ATF also, we found out this weekend.
Well, it's weird because I guess the judge that gave them the warrant is also out of control. And it was multiple sites. So they got okay, hold on. Let's see. So it's the FBI and federal prosecutors in Manhattan. Keith confirmed Tuesday's previous report about 2 other raids, releasing a video message addressing his group's apparent ties to the diary and declaring Project Veritas came under attack. I woke to the news that apartments and homes of Project Veritas journalists and former journalists, why they leave or get quit? What happened there? Why are they former? What's former? Had been raided by FBI agent. It appears the SDNY now has journalists in their sights for supposed crime of doing their jobs lawfully and honestly, or at least this journalist. Well, apparently not. They didn't take you into custody yet. We do not know how the New York Times was aware of the execution of the search warrant at our reporter's home, or the subject matter of the search warrant, as a grand jury investigation is secret. The FBI took materials of current, former Project Veritas journalists, despite the fact that our legal team previously contacted. You do realize that SDNY, if they roll out, if the marshals roll out, all the big newspapers, all the big media guys in New York have somebody sitting on that all the time, either talking to somebody there, like, you guys rolling today? Where you rolling? I can't tell you, but we're rolling. That kind of stuff. Or is literally parked outside. The FBI took materials of current, former Project Veritas journalists, despite the fact that our legal team previously contacted the DOJ and voluntarily conveyed unassailable facts that demonstrate Project Veritas' lack of involvement in criminal activity or criminal intent. Well, apparently not. Apparently they were assailable. Our efforts were the stuff of responsible ethical journalism, and we are in no doubt that Project Veritas acted properly at each and every step. Apparently not. Tipsters brought the guru. Okay, that's the tipster story. Gave the diary to law enforcement to ensure it could be returned to its rightful owner. We never published it. Now Miss Biden's father's Department of Justice. Well, it's the U.S. Department of Justice. But it was the SDNY that went after you because a crime was committed in Manhattan, it seems. Specifically, the United States Attorney's Office for the and the Manhattan District Attorney appears to have investigated the situation, claiming the diary was stolen. Yeah, you were stolen goods ended up in your hands, and apparently what they're probably having a hard time finding is the quote-unquote tipster. We don't know if it was, but it begs the question, in what world is the alleged theft of a diary investigated by the president's FBI and his Department of Justice a diary? Well, if you lied about, you turned it over because you sent somebody to steal it and they were caught or witnessed or what have you, and you decided to save your ass by turning it in. You turned it in only after you're like, dude, they got wind. They know we took it. We know we stole it. Well, we can't make a copy, and then we'll turn it in.
Has obtained 54 million gun records. 54 million gun records. Apparently, when any business...
That's all?
Gun business goes out of business, they have to turn their records that are 20 years old. They can destroy them. The Fed now is taking the gun records and they're keeping them and they're digitizing them so you can run them for names. This is
or serial numbers for straw purchases. So fucking what? Every other thing you buy, there's a record of it for fucking ever.
Federal registry now.
No, it isn't. Because after 20 years, you may not have it anymore. You may have sold it to a friend.
They are going to the small gun owners are gun.
Well-regulated militia, fucko.
are going to be forced out of business. Mark my words, they're all going to go out of business. And so every record that they have will be in the hands of the federal government. You tie this to the IRS spying on your bank account, they've got everything they need.
Well, I mean, only if you're a bank robber, I suppose.
Should they decide to misuse it. But that would be crazy.
I'm a big fan of when run-of-the-mill record keeping is the same thing as them taking a DNA sample and creating a duplicate of you out of pig cells.
We have the Rittenhouse trial that happened. I've got to go over with you today. It's astounding. The prosecution's case and
sounds like a prosecution's case.
Prosecution's witness. I don't know if the prosecution knows what that word means. You're not supposed to come up with things that exonerate the guy you're calling a bad guy, but that's what they did. They put two witnesses on that disproved the state's case. Why?
Because they had to. Because there were elements they were making. They're going to make a case that of malice aforethought. They're trying to get these charges to pass because of that somehow Rittenhouse knew he was going to run into this trouble and they're going to try and run this. It's not going to work, but that he put himself in danger on purpose so that he could Bernard Goetz himself. It's a Bernard Goetz kind of a thing. Bernard Goetz carried the gun around and he sat in the subway longer than he would have, waiting for somebody to fuck with him, and it was almost like entrapment. And then it was overkill. That's what they're going to do. It's going to fail, but that's the plan. And they need to bring these guys on to put them in place. They can erase basically the elements that don't fit for them in their theory based on the idea that it was malice aforethought. Like I said, it's not going to work. But when they put those people on the stand, because they're there, the defense is going to put them on the stand for sure. So if the prosecution puts them on the stand and then makes the case, then they can kind of draft it their way and deal with the effect of the questioning and cross-examination based on that. That's why.
Wildest dreams of the prosecution, would you put these two guys on up as witnesses where they're like, no, that's not what.
Because the defense was going to fucko and they think they can take control of it earlier and drift the narrative. Certain witnesses are going to be there. It's one thing when stuff is like debatable or there's like a controversy about it stuff, but when run-of-the-mill legal bullshit goes into like, what do you think that means? It's like, just fuck off with this nonsense. Understood.
So
Seattle.
now we know
I need to go too.
that the persecution of Kyle Rittenhouse
he's a wordsmith.
Is just that. They have nothing on this guy. Biden came out this weekend and he said, no. The payout thing, you remember that thing that I said was a garbage term? Do we still have that from last week? He was asked about, do we have, Yeah,
he said 450,000 or $1 million is garbage. Not that there might not be payments to these folks, but the idea that they're talking about 450,000 a piece is what he's talking about.
We don't have it at our fingertips. No big deal, Sarah. He was asked, hey, what about paying 450,000 people?
450,000 people? You mean less than 600 people who lost their children?
$450,000 to people who just came across our border during the Trump administration, and maybe up to $1 million. And he was very adamant. It's a garbage story. And Stu said, I think he's arguing about the 450,000.
The exact dollar amount, because the way he answered.
Yeah. It's going to be less than that, because we have to settle with those folks because they could sue the United States for tens of millions.
He's very specific.
Guys, we've gone through this whole thing with the Rittenhouse thing. People like, he murdered two people, it's murder. That's the point of the trial, and they're never going to find it. It was self-defense. He fled. It was it's going to come down to self-defense. You can believe it was murder. He intended to go out there. That's not even the point. What can they get him on? Like, we've had this conversation. I don't know why people think this is even arguable.
And kind of looks at him and says, you said $450,000 per person, right? $450,000 per person. That's garbage.
Okay. Well, he's obviously, some medication makes him really, really angry at times, because he just flew off the handle on Saturday when he was asked about this, because the White House said
he flew off the handle, did he? When he was like, that's garbage. Come on, man. Like, that's flying off the handle.
No. He was wrong. It is going through. They're going to settle these cases.
So they said it might not be $450,000.
Yeah. So,
right. Why are they having to settle these cases, guys? Why would there be a legal settlement around these cases? Why would anyone have a case that their kid is fucking gone? You don't think in an international court or even in the U.S. court, you don't have a case against and by the way, Trump's going to dodge it because he was president when it happened. And by the way, Glenn Beck wants you to think he's pro-life and fuck these kids. It's funny. It's funny to Stu. It's funny to Stu and it's funny to him. 545 missing fucking kids. Gone. Where are they? Where are they?
Here's what he said. Listen to this, what he said Saturday.
You said last week that this report about migrant families at the border getting payments was garbage.
No, I didn't say that.
Yes, you did.
You said everybody coming across the border gets $450,000.
So the number was what you had a problem.
The number I was referring to.
Bing, bing.
Here's the thing.
Sure.
If in fact,
now listen to this,
because of the outrageous behavior of the last administration,
which is the same as yours and the guy before.
No, it is not, because there are no stories, fucko. Glenn Beck, you are a liar. You are a liar. That's what this is about. This is it. There are no stories from this administration or the last administration where children separated from their families have fucking disappeared. I honest to God, I don't want to hear any more like pro-life bullshit from these assholes. They can't put these kids back with their parents. They don't know where they are, whether they're alive or not. Their parents still looking for the kids. They don't know where they are. That's what this is. These kids. By the way, the Biden administration put together a task force to reunite some of these folks, and some of them, they just fucking can't because the parents are dead. Or they just left. I mean, God knows what happened to them. Because they wanted their kid to survive, and they themselves did not. And so the Biden administration has found like 200 and some odd and reconnected them with their fucking parents. They're working with the Guatemalan government. They're working with Honduras. They're working with Mexico. They're trying to get these kids back with their parents. And some of them, it just ain't going to happen. And there's 2 people for every one of the ones they can't put back together, at least one that's more than likely looking for their goddamn kid. This isn't about everybody coming across the border, and the assertion that it is by Glenn Beck and Stu is a fucking lie. It's shameful. It's gross. They, and I was about to say they know better, but I'm not even sure they do.
And you lost your child.
Yep, here it is. Wait, he gets pissed about this.
Last administration.
Which is the same as yours and the guy before.
Legal or illegal, and you lost your child. You lost your child. It's gone. You deserve some kind of compensation.
Okay, all right, good. So you...
Right. Yeah, now, Glenn Beck doesn't think so. Glenn Beck thinks that if you're trying to get asylum, or you're just running away, or you're a woman with a baby in your arms and you get separated by the Trump administration, that baby just fucking disappears. You don't. And it's also, not only don't you deserve to be reunited with that kid, and if not, compensated to like help you look, just in case it got returned to somebody else, and then they adopted it, and then they find somebody else, and for years you spend that money looking for your fucking kid, whatever that is. Not only does Glenn Beck not think you deserve that money, but Glenn Beck thinks it's fucking funny that these kids are gone. You goddamn right it's something to be pissed about. Fuck you, Glenn.
Lost your child. You lost your child. That guy is unstable. That is.
Yeah, because that's totally unstable. Why would anyone get upset about a lost child? Why would anyone get upset about Trump not giving a fuck and losing children? That's unstable. Look at this asshole. Unstable, crazy would be not getting upset about that shit. It's fucked up.
A really unstable reaction.
And he looks worse than that.
Sorry, Stu. He what? I'm sorry. Why would anybody? Why would anybody get upset, Stu? Why would anybody start giving a fuck? Nobody did for the last 4 years. Not in your circles. Not in Trump's circles. That's for goddamn sure. Fucking A right. That made me more of a Biden fan. And these fucking dweebs saying that somebody getting upset about that. And he's being specific. Not everybody who comes across the border, which is the sales point bullshit that Fox News is pushing, and so is Glenn, and so is Stu. But that it has to do with these lost children. And the last administration didn't give a shit about these kids. Even if you're going to kick them out of the country, you set up a system to return them to their parents. But they couldn't be bothered. It's a human response, and Glenn and Stu are showing their lack of humanity.
Oh, yeah.
Listening on radio.
That's a very unstable reaction. Okay, you lost your child.
Yeah, why do you care, Glenn? What difference does it make? Why would you be upset about that? Why?
Not a good weekend for him to point that out, because, you know, the child that we all have seen pictures lifted over the fence in Kabul and given to American soldiers has been lost by the United States government.
We lost their child?
We lost
No, it went back to the civilian side of the airport. We were not in charge of that. That was not our kid. That was not an American trying to get out. That went to the civilian side. It was given to Afghan soldiers to return to the family. It's not lost. We didn't track it because it's not our kid. Those people were leaving to go that way.
Child. Now, we have said over the weekend, we're going to do everything we can to find them. Oh. Okay. All right. So the child might be in Afghanistan.
By the way, where's the kid that was lost on, what was the kid who was on January 6th? We're looking for it now. I blitzed on his name.
But most likely it's at one of 6 different countries. I'm sure you're not going to have a problem finding the infant. You lost your child. By the way, the mandate is...
By the way, in a war zone during an evacuation versus dicking around with no time scale. 545 kids separated, can't find them. Can't find the parents. Half of them can't find the kid. The parents are looking for him. The kid's just gone. There are 800 kids total. These are the ones that can't find parents. There's another 300 or some odd that the kid's gone. Parents are looking for him. We'll give them a benefit of the doubt that 20% of, or 20 or 30 of them overlap. So you're looking at 300 missing children. That wasn't during an evacuation. That wasn't during a speedy withdrawal from some place. That wasn't with soldiers and a crush at an airport for people to get out. The Trump administration took their fucking time losing these children.
Not really now a mandate.
Caden, thank you, Sarah.
The president has flown 70 secret flights into Florida. Inflation has grown between 50 and 200% in the last year because on food prices.
Because no one was going anywhere and people are trying to make up profits from last year.
Gas prices are going to go through the roof.
Are they? Is that a headline? Is that a headline? Gas prices are going to go through the roof?
That was the weekend.
Was it? Because it looks like you're saying it's going to be next weekend. Here you go. Baby ended U.S. soldiers in chaos of Afghanistan. Airlift is still missing. In chaos of Afghanistan. So you're saying it was chaos at the border, and that's why you had to lose 800 kids over the course of months and months and months, or the 8,800 children they just dropped off without parents in Mexico. We're not even counting those. That has nothing to do with anything. Just found. These are the ones that came across without their parents. Either coyotes dropped them or the parents ran off separately or something and left their own child. And the Trump administration just went, dropped them in cartel land. In a split-second decision, Mirza Ali Ahmadi and his wife, Soraya, found themselves and their 5 children in August 19th chaotic crowd when a U.S. soldier from over the tall fence asked if they needed help. Fearing that the 2-month-old baby, Sohail, would get crushed in the melee, they handed him to the soldier, thinking they would get soon to rest, which was only about 16 feet away. But at that moment, which was swiftly taken over the country, they began pushing back hundreds of hopeful evacuees. It took the rest of the family more than a half an hour to get to the other side. Once they were inside, he was nowhere to be found. So he worked as a security guard, desperately asking every official where the baby's whereabouts were. He said a military commander told him the airport was too dangerous for a baby, and then he might have been taken to a special area for children. But when they got there, it was empty. He walked with me all around the airport to search everywhere. Said it. I spoke to more than 20 people. Every officer, military, civilian I came across, I was asking about my baby. He said one civilian just spoke to him about Sahel might have been evacuated by himself. They said we don't have resources to keep a baby here. So the families handing their babies over the other families were handing their babies over the Kabul airport fence to soldiers. Yeah, it's going to take some time to make sure it's your kid. Ever since his baby went missing, the dates are a blur. Every person he comes across, aid worker, U.S. officials, tells him about them. Everyone promises they will do their best, but they are just promises. Well, until they find them. Afghan refugees who created a missing baby sign with Sahel's picture on it. Soraya, who also spoke to a translator, said she cries most of the time and said other children are distraught. All I'm doing is thinking about my child. Everyone that is calling me, my mother, my father, my sister, they will come to me. Don't worry. God is kind. Your son will be found. Well, if the U.S. And by the way, the accusation in this situation from Glenn Beck is that our soldiers lost this baby under orders from Glenn Beck, or from Joe Biden. So Glenn Beck is saying that the soldiers, these soldiers, lost a baby because that's what Biden would have wanted. And he likes it. Look at the smile on his face.
That was the weekend. The good news.
No, the weekend was the infrastructure bill passed. We added 431,000 jobs and unemployment's down to 4.6%.
This is all coming undone. It's coming undone quickly. Oh, by the way, they passed the reconciliation bill. So they passed the last stimulus package. It's important to understand.
Hold on. Congressional painted rosy view this weekend. Prospect of swift legislation passed their 1.7 climate and social spending package. We'll pass it in the House. We'll pass it in the Senate. We'll get this job done. We're going to lead the world in tackling climate change. Meanwhile, another dilemma. House Democrats moderates said they would not support the reconciliation bill until it had received an official cost estimate. Taking tremendous gamble that the CBS score will be sufficient. They're now working math, tighter deadline to resolve. They're putting tremendous trust in Biden's ability to convince Manchin Senate to support their larger spending package. They're talking about the chaos of last week. Biden's out, let's see, which culminated in a vote in the House on the bipartisan bill early Saturday morning. Alex took the Sunday talk show. What's your mind of the fact the bill back under? We're talking about the largest investment in America. We're talking about cheer reconciliation vote. But the prospects for swift legislative action. Yeah, we will pass it. It hasn't been passed. The main infrastructure bill passed when he said this, especially.
Why Omar and her people didn't vote for the bill? There's two reasons.
Yeah. So, okay, two reasons. Here it is.
One, because there's a lot of weasel Republicans in Congress that allowed them to do it. How do these people survive in a primary? These people.
Well, they're not in Trump districts, and they actually want legislative wins on their record because they're not Trump ball garglers.
Need to be out next election, and we'll give you the list.
Yes, good luck with that.
But there's a bigger.
Please go ahead and attack them.
Why they didn't vote for it. And it should tell you everything you know, and it ties all of these stories together. Okay, so when you look at all of these things, you see that the FBI has...
Look at this book has Soros on the cover. Look at that. Super JOOOOOO.
On dark, you see the ATF is now obtaining gun records and digitizing them and making them...
So the fuck what? They're sales records from stores.
Permanent now. The IRS is spying. The mandate that's not really a mandate, but is a mandate.
No, it isn't. It's a testing mandate.
Payoff to people who came across the border from Biden because you lost your child.
Yeah, Glenn Beck doesn't give a fuck about a lost child.
The 70 secret flights into Florida.
I honestly, God, I thought there was going to be more to that. He's just mocking the idea that if you lost your child, fuck you.
Yeah. The inflation of gasoline prices. I'm telling you, you're going to be paying $5 a gallon. Easy.
Yeah, but that's you saying that. That's not a headline.
Everywhere in the country by the end of this first term.
We don't give a fuck. Get to the point.
When you look at all of these stories...
Yes, they're all tied together.
What do they all have in common?
The squad didn't vote for something.
They seem separate, but they're not. So let me tell you what happened to the reconciliation bill. Reconciliation bill passed, but none of the...
No, it didn't. The reconciliation bill did not pass. The bipartisan infrastructure bill passed.
You know, Omar's voted for it. None of the squad voted for it.
Why? Because nobody did? Because it hasn't passed yet?
Why? Because they said without the Build Back Better passage.
Yeah, that's the reconciliation bill, dumb fuck.
If that bill doesn't pass, you have a key but no lock. They said they broke up the bills, and they broke up all the...
What do you mean they said they broke up the bill? They didn't break it up. It was negotiated that way. Nobody gets to demand either side. It's a democracy, dum-dum.
Structure, and put half of it in one bill and the other half in the other bill.
well, obviously, if one bill originally was 3.5 trillion and the other one was 1.5 trillion, that's not half. But I mean, we've seen you eat, so.
So it's a lock and key. So if you just pass the infrastructure bill.
Yes. So, sorry, which one is Zool and which one is Gozer or Vince Clortho?
But not the big Build Back Better bill. You can't get everything done that you want.
Yeah, he's got both of them backwards. He's talking out of his ass.
I've been telling you for a while, they're building it one piece of at a time. Been telling you that. That's.
What do you mean? Incremental change? Gee, it sounds like governing. What a dipshit.
Exactly what she just verified over the weekend. Now, how does that tie into all of this?
I'm waiting with bated breath. We've all been wondering.
Because everything is one piece. The IRS spying on your bank is part of the ATF getting all of the information on guns.
How?
The
Say
ability
how.
for the FBI to use secret courts to spy on political enemies.
Fucko, you're just reiterating those points. You're supposed to give us, it's either the Great Reset or Agenda 69 or something like that. Asshole, give it something. What's the big Illuminati thing? We know what you've been saying the whole God damn it. We've been saying the same shit.
Is also all part of that. The secret flights into Florida, where they're not alerting anyone. 70 secret flights into Florida. These all are tied in to the destruction.
Wait, hold on. I got to get the fuck out of here. But hold on. Shit. What? Oh, migrants. I see. Florida governor. Okay. So, yeah. Florida governor says this. Well, it must have happened. Whatever. Florida governor says Biden administration has landed dozens of secret flights carrying illegal migrants into the state. Migrant families and unaccompanied children are mostly not being expelled via Title 42. Yeah, families and unaccompanied children. Now, I know that Glenn Beck wants those children dropped off in the fucking desert. But let's see. Flies unaccompanied migrants. Unaccompanied migrants? What the fuck? I'm sorry, do migrants have handlers now? It would be illegal migrants or unlawful migrants or whatever, but unaccompanied, you mean children in the dead of night. Former Buffalo Ice Field Director Tom Feely, former West Coast, going to slam the decision by the administration, say it didn't want the public finding out about the flight. Over 70 air charter flights on jetliner airliners have come from the southwest border, landed in Jacksonville. The public safety czar told the Washington Examiner. On average, there's 36. 70 flights with 36 fucking people on them. On average. Now look at the picture. And then 36. And then look at the picture. And look at the headline. And then look at the word 36. And that has been going on over the course of the summer throughout September. Dear God, 70 flights. With nearly. Jesus Christ. We're in a sad situation trying to run an investigation. Who's facilitating the travel? How are they getting here? Who are the support people? Who are the sponsors? I don't know why there are Spanish people coming into the country. Why is this okay? Only been removing single adults and sections of migrant families under Trump Title 42 public health precautions. Unaccompanied children are moved into Health and Human Services care and united with sponsors across the country. Now I know that Glenn Beck wants them dropped off in the desert alone with no food. Because that's what Mormons want.
Of America. That is their goal, make no mistake.
Sorry, what? It was the what of America?
These all are tied in to the destruction of America. That is their...
Yeah, but how? How is that? How are flying children into Florida because you're not willing to dump them in? That makes us more of America than America. Yes, he's a Mormon. He's not organically Mormon. He wasn't born into that. He and his wife went religion shopping. I shit you not. And he chose Mormonism because you get to have, if you're a dude, you have your own planet after you die or some shit. Fucking hell, because this is part of the great... Yeah, at least put it in this new Great Reset coalition. We live in a banana republic. Fuck off with this garbage. Oh, God. All right, I went way over tonight. I appreciate you guys sticking around. I didn't do a morning show, so I felt bad. So we hung out a little bit longer. I appreciate you guys being here and taking a tour of the county jail with me and through the hollowed-out gourd that is the head of Glenn Beck and his absolute total disdain for children. On that note, I love you. Be safe. Take care. And I will see you tomorrow. Okay, bye. I really mean it. I'm going to take off. Promise. Okay, see you later.